Chapter 281 Accidental. Necessarily. In the next trip to Alabasta, Luffy fought Crocodile 3 times, and finally the small universe broke out and won the opponent. Everything is almost the same as the original, and the only thing that has changed a bit is some small episodes related to Enel. For example, Todd, the sand thief who dared to point his gun at Enel 17 years ago, not only did not die, but also became the Minister of the Environment in Alabasta. Fire Fist Ace appeared, Smoker appeared, Kung Fu Manatee appeared, Scam Bird, Desert Scorpion, and the bounty hunter who gave out the news that Blackbeard was here, and brought Ace to a duel with him also appeared. Enel had been following Luffy from a distance, so he was not noticed by Fire Fist Ace and Crocodile. His vision is much wider than Ace's. Enel confirmed one thing from this. That is, as long as conditions permit, what should happen in the original will still happen, as if the trajectory of history has been fixed. Is it fate by chance, or is there an indescribable force driving this world forward? Enel doesn't know, but this does not prevent him from continuing to use some opportunities in the historical process to gain the power he wants. There is another phenomenon that makes Enel a little concerned, that is, when Luffy defeated Crocodile, he was so lucky, as if the whole world was helping him. Luffy's physique is in the upper reaches of the Lieutenant General, and is actually almost the same as that of Crocodile. In terms of comprehensive strength, Luffy is not as good as Crocodile. In terms of fruit, physical skills, and overall strength is greatly inferior. But can't stand his strong will and luck. In the last battle, Crocodile was already a little confused, often making mistakes, and there were several attacks on Luffy that were unavoidable, but due to a slip of his foot, or the collapse of the palace and the falling of stones and other factors strove on. A variety of unexpected factors combined, the scale of victory tilted towards Luffy bit by bit, and finally successfully overturned Crocodile. It's a bit of a feeling that heaven and earth are together. But is this really just an accident? Such luck in battle is unreasonable no matter how you look at it. Or is it an unknown power that Luffy possesses? Enel summed up Luffy's situation, which is somewhat similar to himself. All have strong physical qualities, but are somewhat lacking in physical skills and combat experience. In the original book, it should not have taken him more than a year since he entered the Great Route to the Chambord Islands, but his strength has increased from 100 million to 300 million. In such a short period of time, their physique has reached their level, and it is difficult for them to make significant progress even if they work hard. So Luffy became stronger because of his fruit development, physical skills, and combat experience. The basis of all this is that he has a strong body. After the Battle of Crocodile, he clearly changed. This talent makes Enel jealously want to kill. After the Alabasta incident, the Mary set sail again, and with the help of Fung Kele, finally got rid of Tina's pursuit. Enel grabbed Luffy's special seat and looked out at the sea. It's a repeat of history. The sea with me should have been different. Why did I come here, and what is the meaning of my coming here? Enel fell into philosophical thinking. Bastard. Come down, that's my seat. I paid, you can talk to Nami. Enel blocked Luffy so much he couldn't speak. Can only curse angrily. Ha, I said, you guys, why are you weak? Zoro asked, looking at the group of people who were lying on the railing. It's lonely, Luffy, Usopp, Nami, Sanji, Chopper, and Enel said in unison. Hey Enel, why are you joining in the fun? Zoro complained at the grinning Enel. Don't cry and cry, I was so reluctant to let her say that, I directly pulled her into the team. The savage Sauron was unanimously condemned. You finally escaped from that island country, you've worked hard. Robin pushed the door and walked out of the cabin. Enemy attack. The enemy is coming, Usopp screamed. Beautiful big sister. Sanji's face was crazy. Why are you here? Are you here to stop revenge? Come here if you have one. Zoro drew his knife out of the scabbard. Didn't I say it? Don't take that dangerous thing at me. She activated the fruit ability and smashed everyone's weapons. Robin ignored the surprise and noise of the Straw Hats, and let Luffy be responsible for her. Hum, isn't this Nico? Robin, the world government has been looking for you for a long time. It turned out to be hidden in the crocodile bastard. Anil crossed Erlang's legs and smiled maliciously. Cold sweat dripped from Nico Robin's forehead. He turned around, looked at Anil, and said, I didn't expect to meet a famous person like you here. How could you be on the ship of such a small pirate group? Although she tried to calm down, the fear on her face could not be erased. Ah, is Anil a big man? Luffy was stunned. Ah, I'm a king, didn't I say so? What, king, didn't you say you were a merchant? Said Usopp. Actually, I am also a businessman. No one stipulates that the king cannot do business. Anil shrugged. Wow, number wonder it's so rich. Nami stared at Anil, causing the latter to shudder. After these days of getting along, Anil finally understood the helplessness of Luo's alliance with them in the original book. The Straw Hat Pirates have the ability to forcibly lower the lower limit of friendly forces. He suspected that if he stayed for a few more days, he would be assimilated into such a second-hand. Compared to these two identities, your other title is the most amazing, isn't it? One of the 7 seas under the king, the Black Coffin, Anil Viserys Lafawater. What an unpleasant young lady. You are going to expose everyone else's bottom line. But there is no need to hide it. Seeing the surprised expressions of the Straw Hats, Anil nodded in satisfaction, and finally succeeded loaded up. Isn't the time traveler supposed to pretend to be in front of the original protagonist? Hey Luffy, what's your nose-picking look? What 7 Shichibukai? Are you with Crocodile? Rubber bullets. Luffy punched Anil directly. Boom. What Luffy's attack is actually useless. Nami pressed Anil, who was hit by Luffy, with horrified eyes. In fact, Luffy's punch just now was not strong at all, and it was no different from an ordinary person's punch. Anil suspects that this piece of shit is trying to avenge himself for occupying his special seat. Don't be so excited, I have no ill intentions, or you would have died. I am very happy to be with you on this journey. But it should be parted soon. Take me for another ride. Anil originally wanted to leave after watching the duel between Luffy and Crocodile, but suddenly remembered that on a small island on their route, whose name he had forgotten, there was a demon sword, the 7-star sword. He forgot exactly where it was, but as long as he kept following the Straw Hat, and according to the original work he had drawn, he would maintain the inconvenient conclusion as much as possible, then the 7-star sword incident would be triggered sooner or later. Anil still remembered that he had promised to find Akutagawa Huang a good demon sword. Now that he is about to gather his partners, it is a good choice to take the 7-star sword as a gift to meet again. That sword that feeds on slaughter and blood, and can even forcefully manipulate people's hearts, matches Akutagawa Ko's style very well. As for if he is controlled by the sword, then he can only blame his own strength. Anil can kill or bury. Chapter 282 Cursed Sword. 7-star sword. What is that? Luffy held a bone in his mouth. That is the most beautiful legendary sword known as the Great Root. And the place where the super treasure is located is on this island. Anil propped up his head. Generally speaking, the legends that the Straw Hats and the others encountered will become reality, and even Usopp's inconspicuous lies may one day come true. The 7-star sword is on this island, that's right. What is the name of this island? Anil asked. Askar Island. Huh, what's the matter, Anil? He took out the phone bug and dialed Akutagawa Huang's number. Hey, Huang, I found the news of a very good demon sword, the 7-star sword. It's a double-edged sword. On Askar Island, it should be in a certain place now. In the hands of a navy, do you want me to grab it for you? Askar Island, I'm nearby, I'll be there soon. I'll get it myself. The process of capturing the sword is also part of my kendo. Akutagawa Huang said. Oh, is that so? Anil glanced at Luffy and decided to protect the 7-star sword. So as not to be ruined by these gang of righteous, tyrannical guys. By the way, how did you come to the first half? Mr. Ski has contacted me. I'm afraid he will soon gather his men and start moving. Are you coming? Mr. Sky, I'll go. It's my deal with him. I'm not the kind of man who breaks his word. But I'll have to wait a few more weeks before I get that guy Milo back. Just come. Miro, is the guy with the green head still alive? I haven't heard from him for more than 10 years, do you know where he is? Huang said. Anil scratched his head, I don't know either, but he shouldn't die so easily. As for where, I can only think of a few places. I'll look for it, but if I really can't find it, leave him alone. Click, hang up the phone bug. Suddenly a chill came over him. Seeing the blackened Nami staring at herself, she let out a roar like a lion's roar. Anil, you bastard, are you trying to snatch my treasure? Hey, what do you call me? The current owner of the 7-star sword is not you. Everyone is a pirate. Of course, whoever grabs it first will get it. Anil argued. Luffy, hurry up, let's act quickly, don't be preempted by this guy. Nami pulled Chopper and Luffy and ran into the street. Robin gave Enel an inexplicable smile and followed. Enel is not in a hurry, he just needs to be careful not to damage the 7-star sword when the blood moon comes out. No matter how Luffy and the others run, they are still within the search range of Enel. He slowly finished a cup of tea, got up and wanted to leave, but was stopped by someone reaching out. Guest, you haven't paid yet. Enel's face darkened as he looked at the half-height plates on the table. In the pirate world, in addition to devil fruit and domineering, there are a lot of mysterious things. The rainbow fog, the mysterious plant lily carnation on the Carnival Island, the powerful beastmaster's horn on the rare beast island, and the target of Enel this time, the sword of 7 stars. Legend has it that the tragedy began on the day of the red full moon. On that ominous night, the 3 princes of Aska met a beautiful witch for the first time and fell in love with her at the same time. In order to win the love of the witch, the 3 princes took out the 7-star sword to prove the throne, and went to war. The earth and sea also wept as they absorbed the grief of countless innocent victims. Then, the 7-star sword, which absorbed the resentment and blood of countless people, attracted slaughter and destruction, and turned into a cursed demon sword. The witch sacrificed her life to appease her resentment. The 3 princes prayed to the gods in return for the death of their beloved shrine maiden, and received 3 jewels from the gods of Askar, and sealed the power of the 7-star sword that became the demon sword. However, Saga, Soren's friend when he was a child, picked up this ominous sword at a critical moment, causing the 7-star sword to be unsealed. He also became a puppet of the 7-star sword, trying to control the navy and dominate the world. After Luffy and the others learned of this, the heart of justice was at work again. Start working hard to reseal the 7-star sword. Anil sat on the roof where the navy was present, listening to Saga's passionate speech below. Soon, the time we have been waiting for will come, when I will give you invincible power. It is not law and order that determines good and evil in this world, not even God, but power. Power. Only with power can you become an almighty god and rule the world. This is true justice. Hum hum hum, Enel laughed. Who? Saga pointed at the roof with a sword drawn. Very good consciousness. Yes, strength is justice. But strength ha 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 ha, just you gangsters who want to rule the world. Are you trying to laugh at me? I kneel covered, hold your stomach. HMPH, the power of the 7-star sword is not something you can guess, you arrogant. Saga looked at Neil with contempt. Contempt from the fool. Forget it, I don't want to fight you, I'm afraid I'll kill you by accident, and I won't explain it to Huang. According to the way of a samurai, if you defeat your opponent in an upright manner, you can get your opponent's sword. The guy doesn't want me to intervene. I don't think he'll take any interest in a weakling like you, though. Die. Saga jumped up and slashed at Anil, but was caught by the latter. How is that possible? Saga's sword was actually caught by his hand. Zoro was full of disbelief. A devil fruit-capable person. He thought of Daz Bonus, whom he had defeated in Alabasta. Those with the ability to cut fruit quickly have blades all over their bodies, and they can also pick up other people's swords with their hands. Anil grabbed the 7-star sword, only to feel a strange force eroding his arm. Life force was quickly consumed. Oh, it can burn life force. It's really a good sword. The sword is good, but people are scumbags. He threw him off casually. Saga spat out a mouthful of blood on her back. He stood up quickly, as if uninjured. In Anal's perception, the strange power on the 7-star sword invaded Saga's body, stimulated his vitality, and quickly recovered from his injury. That bastard Huang is really troublesome. Helping him find a sword and picking up and down, following some bullshit samurai rules. If I knew earlier, I would say that this is an unowned sword, and someone who has a destiny will get it. Thinking. Come on, I'm just here to see the quality of the 7-star sword, don't worry about me. Enel kicked Saga, who had lost his ego with red eyes, and spread his wings to the sky. Wings, can he still fly, troublesome guy? Zoro looked at Enel in a trance, thinking about what he would do if one day he became an enemy of Enel. The power of the 7-star sword is invincible. On the Red Night, my dream will become a reality. Saga roared angrily. Zoro clearly felt that something was wrong with Saga, but out of trust in his childhood friend, he chose to temporarily stand on Saga's side. Chapter 283 Demon Sword. The sun was sinking in the west, and the scarlet moon emerged from the clouds. The huge full moon exudes a strange red glow, the waves of the sun are rolling, and the world is pitch black. Everything was covered in a faint red. A small boat slowly docked on the shore, and a blond man in a kimono embroidered with cherry blossoms, swords and snakes walked from the boat to the land. The fair skin was a pale pink under the red full moon. Eyes as blue as the sea looked up to the sky. The dark clouds drifted away, and the west wind danced. The wind blew his hair, and his broad sleeves swayed slightly. With those slender fingers, he pushed the hair behind his eyes behind his ears. What a beautiful sky, this bloody moon is as beautiful as death. I smell it, the smell of killing and blood. The resentment floating in the air is the fragrance of death. Ha ha hey hey, that guy Anal really found a good thing for me. I just don't know his strength, whether he is qualified to be my captain. I really look forward to it. The cursed sword of blood and death, and a goodbye 17 years of reunion. The soft and meaningful words echoed on the coast, drifting away with the wind. Akutagawa Huang stepped on his boots and walked silently. Shish. 3 pink beams of light emitting a sacred aura rushed into the sky, and in response to the faint glow of the 7 stars, they spread out and turned into a huge enchantment covering Askar Island. The power of the red moon was sealed, and after drinking Soren's blood, the green light of the 7-star sword, which had gradually become active, dimmed. Saga stumbled, her body seemed to have been drained of some strength, and she was powerless for a while. Damn Maya, useless trash. Cursing in his heart the navy he had sent to stop Baoyu's return, Saga ran towards the central altar. Maya, the sorceress of heritage, is standing high on the altar, praying to the gods of Askar. The shrine maiden's costume with gorgeous ornaments swayed, and the 3 pearls on the chest flickered. Huang paused and looked up at the sky. In his sight, there was a very strange, weak but tenacious voice, calling for blood and death. That was the voice of the 7-star sword. This powerful demon knife has even developed self-awareness. The enchantment with strange power in the sky was weakening the power of the 7-star sword, so that the originally weak voice became even weaker, almost to the point of inaudible. Didn't Anal say that the sword now has an owner? As a swordsman, it's a shame to let his sword be sealed. He slowly pulled out the saber from his waist and turned against the shadow. The scarlet light shone, the aura of slaughter and death spread, waved the shadow, and cut out 4 slashes. 3 of the slashes slashed Baoyu and the tower together, and the other rushed towards Saga, who was facing off against Luffy. Boom, boom, boom. Wow, the straw hats standing on the tower fell off. Ah, Sanji touched his head, then looked forward. What's going on here? A slash that came from nowhere and led to where it ran through the entire forest. Saga sensed the danger and instinctively held the sword in front of him. Bang! The huge force knocked him flying, and his hands were shaken to the ground and weak. The 7-star sword was thrown high, and then inserted into the ground. Anal, who was sitting on the tree with popcorn in his hand, glanced at the direction where the slash came. Come on, Huang. The barrier, it's been destroyed. Maya looked at the sky in horror. The red moon has risen to the highest point. Evil rays of light shone on the 7-star sword. The 7 enchanting gems hidden in the 7-star sword body lit up one by one, and the green light flickered. Ahahaha, finally the 7-star sword is finally fully resurrected. Saga laughed and walked slowly towards the 7-star sword. Stop it, Saga. Don't touch that demon knife again. Sauron, who was covered in injuries, finally arrived and shouted to discourage him. Sauron, you're not dead yet. Ha 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 ha, you also feel the power of the 7-star sword, right? This is the power that can make the world sink. My dream is about to come true, and this is my justice. Sword, the strongest sword of justice. Boom. A huge slash stretched to the end of the island, between Saga and the 7-star sword. He's right, don't touch that sword. You don't deserve to be called a swordsman. Now that sword is mine. A figure came out of the dark forest. How is this possible? Zoro stared at Zanhen blankly, sweating coldly. The whole island was cut open. This was the first time he had seen the destructive power of the world's top swordsman. When he was in the East China Sea, Hawkeye didn't show his strength at all, he just taught Zoro a lesson in swordsmanship. Huang walked towards the 7-star sword. Wait, don't slam that sword. It will be controlled, Maya urged. Huang ignored him. Hey Neil, he is the partner you said. Let him stop, the 7-star sword, it is not a good thing. Zoro shouted at Neil. Ah, don't worry, if he is really under control, I can also take you to run away. Don't worry, I am very good at escaping. Anil said confidently. Is this a demon sword that embodies the resentment of a country? I can feel that countless unjust souls are wailing on it. Huang took out his shadow and placed it beside the 7-star sword. What, his sword is so disgusting? Luffy frowned, dissatisfied with Niang's breath. That demon knife. Zoro stared at the shadow with a solemn expression. Ah Huang, that is the back image I gave you. How did it become like this? Backward shadow in the 21st work of the Great Fast Sword. I've never heard of it being a demon sword. Zoro asked. You are also a swordsman, aren't you? Huang looked at Zoro. The so-called demon sword is a sword that thirsts for blood and gives birth to self-awareness from killing and resentment. If you kill more people, it will naturally become a demon sword. Wouldn't it be that you turned a normal famous knife into a demon knife? Soren's eyes twitched. Why, is there a problem? The sword is the tool for killing. The more blood it gets, the more beautiful the sword is. The breath on your body is also Shirakendo, right? You haven't killed enough. Huang looked at the man stuck on the ground. Inverse shadow and 7-star sword. Feeling the breath of the shadow, the 7-star sword exudes a strong desire. Have you reached this level? This 7-star sword is such a good boy. Eat it, let me see your strength. The green light flashed away, and the strange aura on the back image was transferred, swallowed by the 7-star sword, and then merged with the original power. A strong aura rose into the sky, and the green and demonic 7-star sword was dyed red as blood. Chapter 284 Huang, help me cut people. New World, Moby Dick. Damn, that damn bastard, has sunk our 3 pirate ships. Margao looked angry. That bastard, Sakura Janji, will never spare him. Where is he now? Rumble, the atmosphere trembled. A snowy island, Kaido kept pouring wine into the corners of his mouth. The drink trickled down his neck. Boss Kaido, do you care about that guy Huang? This may lead to an all-out war between us and the Whitebeard pirates. It's none of my business what he does. Whatever he does. If the white-bearded old man wants to go to war, I will accompany him to the end. A world without war is so boring. Kaido's roar pressed against the air, turning into a shock wave that swept the 4 directions. Kalala, the snow on the mountain, fell and turned into a huge avalanche, roaring and rushing down. The earth roared. Boom. The gust of wind swept through, and the blood-colored aura enveloped the entire Askar island. A chill rushed into their hearts. Nami and Usopp looked around nervously with their shoulders over their shoulders. Why did it suddenly become so cold? Huh. The red beam of light shot up into the sky, the sword energy raged, and the slash marks spread all over the seven-star sword. Saga, danger! Zoro pulled out Saga, who was about to get the sword, and knocked him unconscious. The sky shook and the sea trembled, turning into turbulent waves. The ground shattered and the rocks turned to dust. Maya slumped on the ground and looked at the ominous blood-red beam of light in fear. Seven-star sword, not only woke up, but also became stronger. Damn it, this aura is a bit strong. How can a sword be so powerful? Enel jumped down from the tree and looked at the center where the wind swept. Can that guy hold things back? The seven-star sword made Enel feel a little dangerous. Hey Enel, let him stop. That sword is not something that humans can control. Sauron shouted. Stop, the seven-star sword will turn you into a puppet. Maya shouted at Huang. Huang grasped the hilt of the seven-star sword with their voices of dissuasion. Countless memories rushed into his mind. The resentment of the souls of Askar Kingdom, the cry of the civilians who died in the war, the cry of the soldiers, and the hatred of those he killed all rushed into Huang's brain. It's just a sword. If a swordsman can't control the sword, then what a swordsman? There. A stronger aura emerged from Akutagawa Huang's body, and the breath that was like a sea of corpses and blood was overwhelming. Maya and her grandmother fainted directly, and Zoro was also trembling with fear and excitement under this breath. Luffy, this dull idiot, doesn't feel anything at all. Hey Maya, mother-in-law, why did you faint? The seven-star sword was suppressed, and it let out a cry like a baby crying. A mournful howl as if emanating from the underworld. What sound? Is anyone crying? Luffy looked around. As a swordsman, Sauron also heard this sound. In his ears, it was the whistling of despair and death. The seven-star sword kept shaking in Akutagawa Huang's hand, and finally calmed down, as if it had become an ordinary longsword. That kind of demon knife has been tamed. Enel, this guy is your partner. It's like a monster. Zoro looked at Enel, but he didn't say a word. Since the monster-like guy is your partner, then you are also a powerful monster. Saga behind him woke up, opened his eyes and said, Soren, I'm sorry. His voice was very weak. Saga, are you out of control? That's great. Well, I'm back to normal. That sword has been completely controlled by that person. I'm still too weak and my mind is not firm enough to get to this point. I have to become stronger. Saga looking at Akutagawa Huang's back, his eyes were fiery. Oh, has your friend recovered? That's great. Zoro, leave here first and find Chopper for treatment. Huang and I still have something to do. Ainil looked at Akutagawa Huang. Akutagawa Huang also stared at Ainil. The invisible air pressure collided between the two. The air was a little heavier. Aware that the atmosphere between the two of them was a bit wrong, Zoro nodded, took Saga, and then called Luffy who was carrying Maya and his mother-in-law to leave. There were two people left at the scene. Long time no see, Huang. A long time no see. 17 years. Are you still my partner now? Enel asked. I don't know, depending on your strength, whether you are qualified to continue to be my captain. I just got this 7-star sword, I really want to try it. Akutagawa Huang scrutinized the sword's body, the mysterious pattern of plant vines was bright up, the red light blooms. In other words, if it's the same now, then I'm relieved. I was shocked when I saw the news that you and Kaido were together. Kaido, he and I are just a cooperative relationship. We both want to conquer Wano Kingdom, and the ultimate goal is not conflicting. What he wants is Slate and translation, and what I want is Wano Kingdom itself. Akutagawa Huang explained. I heard about Whitebeard's side, thank you. After the conflict between Enel and the Whitebeard pirates, Akutagawa also launched an offensive against them, defeating their 3 affiliated pirates in a row. In his style, of course, he kills as much as he can, and rarely leaves alive. I just do what I want, and it has nothing to do with you. If it weren't for Whitebeard, Wano Kingdom would have already fallen into my hands. Ahahaha, I know. Anal smiled heartily. Akutagawa Huang is a bit arrogant, and he chose to act at this time, obviously to help Anal share the pressure. Huang, help me cut someone. I have self-knowledge, and now my strength should not be enough to be your captain. I have to obtain the part of my missing strength. If it succeeds, then there will be no obstacles in front of me. I will have the power to end this era. If we fail, then our team will be disbanded. Quote. Killing people. Tiki, I know. When will I act? I will come over. This is my life card. Akutagawa Huang handed a piece of paper to Anal. Huh, you know that guy. Of course I do. I'm not the guy Milo who never pays attention to the newspapers. You and Whitebeard are having a lot of trouble. Anyone who pays a little attention to current affairs will know more or less. Ha ha ha, I accidentally made a big noise. Anal stuffed the last popcorn into his mouth. Chapter 285 Sakura Sword and Dragon. We've never fought seriously, let's try it out, I kneel. Akutagawa Huang's eyes were full of fighting intent. Are you still going to fight? I also want to see, what did you learn from following Shiki, Huang? Darkness surged, slowly emerging from Anal's body, occupying the sky. Boom. The bloody killing intent collided with the overwhelming Longwei. The wind and clouds change color, and the black and red are clearly distinguished. The leaves blown by the gust of wind fell to one side. Hum, this kind of breath, how many people have you killed? I don't know, I'm too lazy to count. Your spirit has also grown a lot, Anal Captain. In the face of Akutagawa Huang's fierce momentum, Anal did not dare to be careless, and instantly entered the half-dragon form. In his perception, Akutagawa Huang is like a sharp sword, and like a cold poisonous snake, extremely dangerous. Since you're a swordsman, then I'll fight you with a sword too. Anal pulled out 2 teeth from his mouth, and the teeth turned into 2 long white swords. Thin, a layer of darkness covered the milky white longsword. Black Dragon Tooth Sword. Huh. Akutagawa looked at Anal suspiciously. He did not feel the unique aura of swordsman from the opponent. Of course Anal doesn't know how to do kendo, but he knows how to slash a child with a sword. His trick is to use the hardness and sharpness of dragon teeth. Anal, aside from being domineering, doesn't have any taijutsu moves that can amplify his attack power. Although it's just a random swing, but relying on the blessing of Anal's strength and the sharpness of the dragon's teeth, chopping iron is like cutting tofu. Soldiers. The dragon-tooth sword slid past Akutagawa Huang's ear, and a bundle of hair was cut off when it touched. The sharpness and coldness of the sword made his skin hurt. A terrible sword, but there are too many flaws. Akutagawa swayed the dragon's tooth sword and stabbed him in the chest like Anal. There are no 2 words in his dictionary, and every attack is aimed at causing maximum damage. Famous swords should only show their sharp edges when their master wants to cut them, but the sharp edges of demon swords never converge. But Akutagawa Huang will not be restrained, so he has such a high affinity with the demon sword. He believes that the sword is pure sharpness and beauty. If there is no edge, is the sword still a sword? The flaws don't matter, as long as you can cut the opponent. Anal's physical skills are not good, and he can't dodge some high-speed attacks, so he simply gave up dodge, defended with dragon scales and domineering, and then attacked with all his strength. That's really rude. Akutagawa Huang gracefully moved around like a water snake. Dodging the attack at a strange angle, his sword also stabbed sideways, leaving only a shallow wound on Anal's chest. Feeling the pain in his chest, Anal frowned. The sword just now lost more than half of its strength due to the deviation of the angle, but it was still able to cut through his defense. Swordsmen themselves are known for their offensive power. It's not surprising to have such a performance. On the other hand, their defensive power is a little worse. Dragon Breath Flash. The black flash was fleeting. Sakura Chikiri Valley. The huge slash cut through the ground and collided with the beam. Rumble boom. The 2 annihilated together, and a huge energy storm struck like a tsunami. The brilliance of the black dragon. A huge black dragon-shaped attack rushed forward. Elegy of the dead dragon slash. With a flash of red light, the huge black dragon was cut in half. Sakura is raining. One after another sword energy flew into the sky, and then fell like raindrops. In the gorgeous scene, there was a fatal crisis. Dark armor, black scale armor. The thick dark armor wrapped Enel so that there was no weakness at all. He stood still and stood still. The rain-like sword light fell and hit the ground. One by one thin and deep holes appeared on the ground. Trees, stones, everything touched by Jeonmang is divided into two. And Enel, as if it was really raining, the sword-light rain that hit him seemed to be the same as ordinary rain. The skin is really thick. Akutagawa Huang gave such a conclusion. Brilliant flame black smoke bird. The darkness turned into three big birds, whizzing past. Akutagawa stretched his sword to the left, the muscles of his right arm bulging. Swing your legs back and forth, shifting your center of gravity slightly. Elegy of the dead scarlet ring injury. He quickly swung his long sword, drawing an arc in the air. A huge slash centered on him, slicing the black bird in two. The slashing did not stop, and the castration continued. Enel flew into the sky, dodging this earth-shattering move. All the trees along the way had their tops chopped off, buildings collapsed, mountain peaks were flattened, and the entire island was divided into two. The Straw Hat Gang gathered in Maya's village were chatting when Zoro suddenly shouted, "Danger, get down!" Zung. A sound like metal tremors sounded, with a harsh low voice. Usopp's reaction was slow, and he was pulled down by Luffy. He fell backwards with his face turned to the sky, and the tip of his nose was rubbed with a trace of blood by the sword glow. He was sweating profusely, with a look of fear on his face. Chopper, who was standing on a chair, had his antlers cut off. The slash flew diagonally upward toward the sky, red light flashed, and the entire sky was illuminated. At this moment, the entire world is left with this slash, traversing the sky. The sky shone for a while, dazzling rays of light radiated in all directions, and the clouds were cut in half, unable to close for a long time. Hey, it's true. The sky is cut open. Is this the power of a great swordsman? Zoro and Saga looked at the attack, yearning in their hearts, and their bodies began to tremble uncontrollably, which was the excitement of being a swordsman. Hey, what the hell is going on? Is someone fighting? Sanji was puzzled. It should be Enel and the guy who looks like a woman fighting, Usopp said. Fortunately, he didn't say that in front of Akutagawa Huang, otherwise the Straw Hats would be wiped out here. Roar. A roar resounded like thunder. Unparalleled power ran through the forest, and a huge semicircular passage appeared on the ground, and the ground was scorching hot and steaming. Curly blue smoke rose up and dissipated in the wind. Boom, boom, boom. After a while, in the opposite direction of the slashing flight, a huge explosion sounded on the sea. The unparalleled force oppressed the sea water and turned into a tsunami. The air was oppressed, and the wind swept through, blowing off countless branches. Nami shivered as she watched the devastating scene. Or all such monsters on the Great Waterway, we won't have to fight these guys in the future, will we? Ha ha hey 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 hey, it's so interesting. Don't worry, Nami, I won't lose. I'm the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Luffy was still confident. I can't stand you, idiot captain. Nami looked helpless. The rest of the crowd also had smiles on their faces. Luffy's self-confidence infected them, and relieved a lot of their worries about the road ahead. Yes, he is the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Since he went out to sea, no matter how powerful the enemy is, he will eventually be defeated by him. He will not lose, even if he falls down and loses his strength, he will still stand up, and no one can beat him. Everyone in the Straw Hat Pirates is convinced. Their captain is a person who cannot be speculated with common sense and can cause miracles. Luffy looked at the sea and clenched his fists tightly. He is confident, but he is not stupid. This kind of power is something they cannot resist for the time being. Get stronger, get stronger. Chapter 286 Leave. Maya stared blankly at the battle scene that shook the world and the sea, and suddenly felt that the seven-star sword was really weak. The scene of the battle between gods and demons in front of him is not at the same level at all. At the same time, she was deeply worried that no matter which of the attacks just now landed on this island, it could bring devastating consequences to Aska Island. Gods of Askar, please bless this island, let innocent people suffer no more. Ahahaha, a burst of laughter broke the depression. Luffy pointed to the top of Chopper's head and laughed out loud. Ahahaha, Usopp laughed when he saw Chopper's half-missing antlers. Hey, what's the matter? What's wrong? Chopper didn't know why, and after touching the top of his head again, he burst into tears. Nami, Luffy, they bully me. Boom, boom, boom. Luffy and Usopp bowed their heads and apologized. I'm sorry. Really, what time is it, and there is still no one serious? Where's that green algae head? Sanji looked puzzled. Enel put away the darkness, and the dragon's scales faded. Akutagawa had no scabbard, so he could only hold the seven-star sword. Captain, you're still a little weak. Both of them didn't use their full strength just now, and on the whole they were half a pound. At this level, Akutagawa was barely able to accept the position of Captain Enel. Ha ha ha, after I get the dark fruit, my strength will be greatly improved, and then it will be almost the same. Everyone has grown a lot. Yes, everyone has become stronger, and the cat has grown a lot. Carter, it does grow quite a bit, have you met it? Well, it's in the water capital. I told me that you were with the Straw Hats. Goodbye, then, I want to go to Mr. Ski's. Goodbye, Enel waved. Wait, Sauron suddenly sprang out, panting, and after he put Saga back in the village, he ran back all the way. Huh, it's you, green-haired swordsman, is something wrong? Akutagawa Huang said in a very flat tone. Please have a fight with me. Ah, Zoro, are you looking for death? Huang is using the Sword of Slaughter, plus the seven-star sword that thirsts for blood. You will die. Enel said. It doesn't matter when you see a more powerful swordsman, you can't help but challenge. This is the instinct of a swordsman. Even if you die because of it, you will not hesitate. Sauron tied a dark green turban around his head. Boring, Akutagawa Huang casually waved his sword. Wow, Zoro couldn't even block his sword energy and was knocked flying. Cough cough, blood filled his throat, making it difficult for him to breathe. Although most of the power of the sword just now was blocked by Zoro's sword, the aftermath still hit him hard. I want to ask a question, you and Hawkeye. Hawkeye, I'm one step behind him. Your name is Roronoa Zoro. Huh, you know me. Hawkeye mentioned you and said that you are a very interesting swordsman. He seems to be very optimistic about you, but your strength is too weak. If you go to the New World with such strength, I am afraid it will be destroyed in an instant. Greatness in the second half of the fairway, even a slightly famous swordsman, you can't win. Akutagawa's figure disappeared into the darkness. Ahahaha, the sword that Huang just gave you shouldn't have done much, or you'd already be dead. Enel grabbed Zoro's shoulders and carried him towards the front of the Mary. Wow, it hurts you, kid, take it easy. I've been complained. If I don't take you away, I'm afraid you won't be able to go back. By the way, how did you find this place alone? I can't come. As a swordsman, I'm very sensitive to the aura of the same kind. Zoro would never admit that he was lost, and he had given up preparing to go back, but ended up here by mistake. A red sun rose from the sea, shining brightly. The breakfast was very rich, and Sanji also carefully prepared a special cake for Enel. Everyone looked at him with piercing eyes. Huh, why are you all looking at me? Have I become handsome? Enel, you've become handsome. Nami nodded solemnly. You've always been handsome, Robin said with a smile. Enel looked at them suspiciously. There must be a demon when something goes wrong. He always felt that the Straw Hats had some conspiracy. Enel, how was breakfast today? Sanji asked. Well, the cake is delicious. What else do you want to eat? I'll make it for you. I rely on. Enel touched his chest and found that there was no change. Sanji is so enthusiastic, he suspects that he has turned into a woman. What's the matter? Say something. Enel looked at them warily. I don't sell myself. Ahahaha Enel, you are really a genius, you guessed that we have something to do. Nami laughed dryly. Can you tell us about the second half of the Great Passage? The second half. Enel drank all the milk. What are you asking about? Brave warriors. Sailing. Cooking and beauties. Quote. Swordsmen. Meat. You want to talk about how to become stronger, right? Enel said. That's right. Your battle was really scary. Nami said, are strong men like you, there are many great routes. A lot. Enel counted his fingers and found that his fingers were not enough, and then said, there are also many monsters stronger than me. Your strength is really not enough. If you feel that you are weak, then go after a power called domineering. Domineering. Zoro was attentive. Sounds domineering. Luffy, Usopp, and Chopper's eyes glowed. It can enhance the attack and defense, and attack the armed arrogance of those with natural ability, the domineering arrogance that can predict the opponent's actions, and the proof of the king, the domineering arrogance of the king. This is the power that every strong person must have. As a veteran, Enel really showed off in front of them. It attracted praise from Chopper and others. But he didn't say anything useful either, not because he didn't want to say it, but because he knew little about it. There were many things he forgot after seeing it. Can't remember for a while. After breakfast, Enel put down the cutlery and got up. He looked at Luffy and said, Luffy, the world is very big, the sea is very vast, I still have something to do, and I should almost leave. The journey with you is very happy, and I have rekindled my passion. I believe one day we will meet again. As friends, I will treat you well if you come to my territory, but if you choose to stand against me, I will not let you go. Ah, goodbye, Enel, I'm the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Luffy shouted his oath firmly. Enel spread his wings and flew to the sky. Wow, you can fly. It's so cool. Usopp had stars in his eyes. That's the devil's wings. Is Enel really a devil? Chopper fluttered in horror. Aren't we cursed? Wait, Enel, don't go, Nami suddenly shouted. Okay, there are beauties to keep me, is my charm finally discovered? Enel was happy. 300 million Baileys. Enel stumbled and almost fell into the sea. Robin saw a piece of paper fall from the air, and the activation ability caught it. Nami, you see. Nami took the paper and put it away carefully. Chapter 287 Blackbeard Pirates. Huh. Enel, who had transformed into a black dragon, swept across the sea, leaving behind a wave. Boom. A huge sea beast suddenly came out, opened its mouth, and wanted to swallow Enel. Boom. Enel did not dodge or evade, entered through his mouth, and then came out through its body. Bring a bunch of blood flowers. Milo has not had any news for more than 10 years. If he ate the thunder fruit, if he really appeared in the eyes of the world, he could not be a nameless person. Either he was dead, or he wasn't active at sea at all. Enel guessed that he may be on the island, or on the moon. Boom, blah blah blah. The phone worm suddenly rang. Huh. Enel picked up the phone. Hey, who? It's me, Sengoku. Because Shah Crocodile is trying to control the allied countries of the world government, he has been deprived of the position of the king's Shichibukai, so we need to establish a new candidate. The king's Shichibukai meeting will be held in a week's time. Oh, the 7 Wuhai Conference. Enel sounded that there was indeed such a thing in the original book. I won't go by myself, I don't have time. Carter will go there in my place. He has my will. Enel hung up the phone directly, he and Sengoku had nothing to say. As for sending Carter, it is to increase Doflamingo's right to speak. When choosing Chiwahai, you also need to take into account the will of the existing Chiwahai. It would be embarrassing if one person was chosen and had a grudge against one of the original Chiwahai, and the two directly fought each other. Chiwahai is a rebellious generation, and there is a real conflict, and their navy basically has no possibility of mediation. Forcible intervention can also upset the balance of power. Now Anal occupies the will of Shichibukai, and everyone knows what happened with him and Tiki. Therefore, the current Tich is basically not considered among the candidates of Kibukai. Hey Carter, you go to the Shichibukai meeting instead of me. If a guy named Lafayette breaks into the conference room and recommends Tiki to become Shichibukai, don't object, agree with him. Anal dialed got through Carter's phone. Meow, I know. It's really good at calling cats. It's rare for me to go on vacation with roe deer in the water capital. You're actually here to disturb me, I'm so angry. Carter made no secret of his dissatisfaction. I'm sorry, I really have something to do here. I may be busy in the near future, so you have to be mentally prepared. Also, be careful, the sea is going to be turbulent again. Protect your roe deer. Carter pondered, with a serious cat face. I see. Who is it? Sword Cat. Roy wore sunglasses and a goose yellow gauze dress. Wearing a tall white hat trimmed with lace, a pink flower adorns the brim. This is the famous clothing designer to create it. In its words, it perfectly sets off the temperament of its body and outlines its charming body curve. It's Enel, I have something to leave. Don't run around here, go to the iceberg if you have something. He is also Enel's subordinate. I see, you go back early. Roy said, call me on the phone when you come back, I will prepare grilled fish and wait for you. Don't leave in a hurry, I will prepare your luggage for you. Quote. Roy rushed into the villa they bought here, and rushed out after a while, carrying a large bag with a diameter of 5 meters, which was full of all kinds of fish. It's all pickled. This is 3 weeks worth of food, don't get hungry on the road. This backpack is waterproof, so don't care if you fall into the sea. Eat when you're hungry, rest when you're tired, and don't damage your body. Be careful, protect yourself, don't be impulsive when encountering powerful guys. Roy chattered for 3 hours. Carter's heart is beautiful, Roy is caring about it. It was carrying a backpack, and under the scorching sun, it embarked on a journey to the naval headquarters. Without putting the luggage into the space, this heavy package contains not only fish, but also the roe deer's heavy love for it. Enel was flying and suddenly remembered a very serious problem. His pointer was always in the ring kangaroo's pouch, and no magnetism was recorded. So now it still points to the small garden. With a black face, he crushed the pointer, and then flew in a random direction. Thief ha ha ha, sand crocodile has been removed from the Chihuahua. This is our chance, Tiki said while eating a piece of cherry pie, looking at the newspaper. Waiahaha Captain, what should we do? Should I apply directly to the world government for the seat of Shichibukai? Said Zishes Bashes with purple hair and a bold smile. No, the fact that we killed the captain of the 4th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates has been known, and the strength is enough, but at the same time, I also stole the devil fruit of that guy Anal, and I have a grudge against him. World, the government will not allow the conflict between the two Chihuahua. Then it's not possible for you to become Chihuahua. It's too bad. Bosses smiled unabated. No, there is still a chance. It's good to let the world government see our sincerity. Compared with Anal, who is just around the corner and causing instability in the new world, as long as we show enough cooperation, the world government may still accept it. Ours. Titch swallowed the cherry pie. Sincere. Yeah, it's sincerity. Catch a pirate with enough weight is our sincerity. Lafitte, please run for me. Teach said. What's the matter? Said a man with pale skin, dark red lipstick, a white background with a cross, and a red sword in his hand. The memory of the king's Chihuahua is about to be held. You go to Marijoa and tell the government that we want to become Kibukai. Be careful of that guy Anal, if he is there, you don't show up. Happy to serve. Lafitte bowed slightly. Then let's meet at Gaia Island. Tiki ate all the food on the plate, and then shouted to the owner, cherry pie, 10 more. You seem to be very afraid of that Shichibukai called Enel. Captain, Poison Q said. Then he flopped down on the table, looking like he was going to die at any time. Hey Poison Q, you get up for me. Bashes shouted. Boom. Poison Q's mount, An old gray-white horse that was so thin that it seemed to be seriously ill also fell to the ground. Why even horses? Get up for me, Bossos complained. Anal, that's a very tricky guy. Although he is not as famous as the others in the Chihuahua, he is definitely a ruthless character. He is a man who can leave a wound on Dad's body. Chi's tone was a little strange. Waiahaha, really unlucky, not only to be chased by Fire Fist Ace, but also to provoke such a person. This is probably fate, Van Oka said coldly. Chapter 288 Luffy and Tiki and Enel. Ha ha ha, are you saying that the 30 million Bailey Straw Hat Boy is wearing a sour look? Sarkis, said a pirate wearing a blue jacket and golden hair. Yeah, wearing a short-sleeved street stall, with a few holes in the pants, and a straw hat that looks like it's decades old. I can't imagine how a 30 million Bailey bounty criminal would be. What a mess. Sarkis, dressed in a blue and white fashion and carrying a large knife, looked contemptuous. Ha ha ha, don't compare them to us. Not everyone can be like Bellamy, said a blonde woman with sunglasses and a red turban on her head. Bellamy stuck his tongue out like a hyena and leaned to one side. Oh, I was looking forward to it. If he is qualified, let them join us and become a member of the Pirates of the New Era. Hearing you say that makes me feel hopeless. Aren't they the idiots chasing unrealistic dreams again? Well, as seniors, let's go and give them a hand. Who told us to be so kind? Ha 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 ha, the person wearing a white baseball cap and holding a bottle of wine laughed. After many twists and turns, Anal finally saw an island. The special Wideria search ability and high-speed flight ability allow him to fly on the Great Channel even without a pointer. I went in the right direction, but I didn't find the original destination Sky Island, but I found Gaia unexpectedly. Gaia is here. Is the Sky Island still far away? Go and fill your stomach first. He's been flying for almost a week. He sniffed the air and dived down the scent of the food. Huh. The air was pressed and made a rumbling muffled sound, as if a meteorite was falling from the sky, and even a faint flame was on the rear end. Huh. Sarkis looked up at the sky with a puzzled expression. Suddenly his face changed greatly, and he shouted, "Be careful." Boom. Enel landed in front of them, the loud roar ringing the ears of those around. The ground trembled, and the splashed rubble shot to the side like a bullet. Enel stood up, looked around, and walked towards a restaurant. Damn it. Where is the lunatic? I can't spare him. The disgraced Sarkis got up from the ground. Cough cough, goddamn bastard, the tall blonde woman cursed. In the hotel. Hey, what is going on here? I really can't wait for a moment. A group of mad people. Name complained. Haha, thinking that means you're still a normal person. But it's a pity that normal people like you are a rare animal in this town. Stay in another 4 days and the record pointer will be full. So don't make trouble until then, you can leave safely. The bartender, who was covered in tattoos and had a fierce face, was a normal person and said to Nami. Alas, for 4 days, I can't even stay for 2 days. Nami was very helpless. Luffy, hey, big tree, this cherry pie is unpalatable. Titch, hey, old man, this cherry pie is delicious. Hem. The two looked at each other angrily, and then suffocated the wine in one gulp. Luffy, why is this wine so delicious? Titch, why is this wine so bad? When they hit the bar, the bartender said speechlessly, I'm not a chef, so I'm fine. Lucci looked up at Titch, is your head broken? Tiki looked down at Luffy, is your tongue broken? The two of them were fighting each other over the amount of cherry pie and meat they bought. If you don't agree with each other, you will fight with your sleeves. Get rid of it, what's so noisy? Zoro was quite normal, and was very puzzled by the behavior of these two idiots. Suddenly a pair of hands emerged from between them and pushed them to the sides. Beverage, fill up. Food, fill up. Hurry up and take out what you have to eat. Anal, who had been hungry for a week, swept the items on the bar. How can the food here be so delicious? Anal looked happy, and only when his hungry chest was pressed against his back did he realize the value of food. Hey, where is the bastard? Are you courting death, kid? Teach and Luffy said in unison. Huh. Enel looked to the left. Luffy, why are you? You or Enel? Wow, ha ha ha, we meet again so soon. Luffy laughed and patted Enel on the shoulder. No fighting in the store, you're 50 cherry pie. Big man, grab your stuff and go. The bartender said to Titch. Titch took the cherry pie, glanced at Enel, and felt a throbbing in his heart. As if a demon was tempting to say, kill him, kill him. Reason made him restrain himself and silently turn to leave. Enel that Shichibukai, who is also chasing the dark fruit, is not the time for a conflict with him. He sensed the vaguely dangerous aura emanating from Enel, and he had no certainty of victory. Satiki chose to forbear for the time being. Enel suddenly felt very uncomfortable, and his body began to transform into a dragon involuntarily, and dragon scales had grown on the part that was blocked by the clothes. The blue lines on the corners of his eyes also deepened a bit. The coercion leaked out caused the chills to surge up in the surrounding people. Titch paused, then quickened a bit. What's the matter? It's suddenly so cold. Nami shivered while clutching her shoulders. She instinctively moved a few steps away from Enel. Sauron held the hilt of the knife and looked at Enel vigilantly. The aura of a wild beast made his blood surge. What's wrong with you all? Luffy, who was slow to respond, looked puzzled. Luffy, Gaia then Tiki should be there too. Enel glanced at the bar and saw Tiki's back as he walked out. The moment he saw Titch, his eyes became scarlet, his whole body trembled, and he couldn't help himself with excitement, as if he had taken medicine. What's wrong with you, Enel? Are you feeling unwell? Luffy asked when he noticed something was wrong with Enel. It's alright, it's just that I'm so excited to see an interesting guy. Oh, is that so? I'm very happy to see you too. Let's share a piece of meat with you. Luffy was a little cute. Outside the bar, Bellamy licks his lips. Are the Straw Hats and the lunatic in here? Sarkis looked unhappy. Ah, it's in this place. Let's teach them a lesson. I want that lunatic to know the fate of offending pirates. Let's go. They crossed with Titch, who came out. Titch glanced at Bellamy, and then looked back again. Such a small character could not show his sincerity. There is no at all. But he still stopped, sitting in the middle of the road and eating cherry pie. He was curious about the Straw Hat and Enel, and wanted to see more. Pirate in My Heart. The last 3 chapters are basically copied from the original book. Even if Luffy was first transported to Bellamy, skipping it has no effect. Let me explain first, so as not to say my water word count. Although it seems that it is indeed in the water word count. In my opinion, this is the most classic bridge in Pirate, so I don't want to omit it. The part where Luffy meets Bellamy before going to the island highlights the whole pirate theme. Dreams and freedom. The most accomplished people in the pirate world, whether it is Blackbeard or Luffy. They are either ruthless or naive, each with their own characteristics, but they all have one thing in common. That is, for the sake of his dreams and beliefs, he would even risk his life. They are all fanatical dream chasers, people who are determined to explore, even if the goal they pursue is just a phantom in the end, they have no regrets. Such a person, in fantasy, is the protagonist, a genius, and a big man who makes a name for himself. Even ordinary people with average aptitude shine with endless brilliance. In reality, for all living beings, such a person is a lunatic. Don't consider social reality, just immerse yourself in your own world. You should be sent to a mental hospital or get a psychiatrist for good treatment. The protagonist I created has the factor of crossing. It is a contradictory and distorted existence. There is real oppression, and there is fantasy indulgence. Before he did not look down on the heroes and look down on the strength of the world, he was more restrained and depressed. And after there is basically no threat, it is to indulge and let go of oneself without restraint. The current situation of the protagonist at this stage should be regarded as a transitional stage from repression to indulgence. To fully begin to release self-prediction is to start with the war on the top. About good and evil. In that chaotic era, it is itself a stage for careerists and heroes, and it cannot be simply evaluated. Everyone thinks differently. The protagonist is egoistic and generally leans towards chaos and evil. He knows this is evil, but as long as he is happy, he will not change his behavior. Also, the protagonist won't be hostile for no reason when it comes to his relationship with Luffy. However, once it is an enemy, it will not stay. Finally, thank you all for your support. Thanks to Super Deja for their strong recommendation at the beginning, and thanks to the mutual encouragement of Dragon Fruit and Painting Demon. Thanks for the love of the leader, I don't know tilde ye. Thank you game friend Shuai Mao for your friendly support. Thank you, Crazy, and Fearless, for your comments all the time. Thank you for the books, Bone Fungus, Black Moon Giant Demon, Shui Wuyu Jiasheng, Ice Slag, Boring and No Explanation, Feng Xiao Qinghua, Hidden Mo, With the Wind, Phantom Injury 4000 Inches, etc. Friends support. Chapter 289 is the era of pirates dreaming over. Enel has regained his composure, the dragon scales have disappeared, the lines have faded, and the terrifying coercion has also disappeared. Tiki dark fruit sure enough. Is the demon in the body longing for darkness? Bellamy walked arrogantly, a group of people mighty. The restaurant was suddenly crowded. It's Bay Bellamy. The guests around looked sideways. Bellamy the hyena, offering a bounty of 55 million Bailey, which was the person with the highest bounty on Gaia Island they knew. Powerful people are attractive wherever they go, especially powerful pirates. Because in front of such a person, he accidentally heated up the other party, and he didn't know how he died. Their eyes are either envious, fearful, or dreadful, and they are all different in the world. Bellamy ignored them. He saw Luffy at a glance. His straw hat was very conspicuous, and it was easy to tell. Oh, you're the one with the head worth 30 million, Luffy with the straw hat. Bellamy stared straight at him. Enel moved a few squares to the side, making room for Bellamy to sit and watch the show. Why? Luffy asked, leaning against the bar. The visitor is not good, Luffy. Zoro kept the wine glass in his mouth. Hey, that Bellamy is that the guy who reported to that hotel just now? Nami whispered. Did you hear that? That kid in a straw hat is worth 30 million. Just that kid. Really or not? The people on the side were discussing. Luffy looked up at Bellamy. Why do you keep meeting tall guys today? It's not that Bellamy is tall, but that he is really too short at 1.7 meters in this place where the odd line is everywhere. I want the most expensive wine. Let's see what this kid likes and give him a drink too. Okay. The bartender clearly noticed that he was not doing well, but their code of conduct is not to participate in the customer's fight, just do your own thing. The rest pretended not to see. What the hell, this shop is dirty and smelly and sells the cheapest rum. You can stay in a place like this. The seats are still full. Bellamy's partner began to pick and choose as soon as he came in. Sarkis instantly chopped down a table of people around him to the ground, sat on the seat and stepped on their corpses and said, "Don't give up your seat immediately after seeing this, uncle." What a shame. The people next to them looked at them with fear. What? Did they want to make a big deal in this store again? Drink, don't mind your own business. Boom. Here, it's been a long wait. The bartender put Bellamy's order in front of them. He opened a hotel in Magic Valley Town, and he didn't have the guts. Even when he saw the bloody scene, his expression remained the same. Come drink. Oh, thank you. What a good guy. Luffy wasn't vigilant at all. When Luffy raised the glass with a smile and put it to his lips, Bellamy stretched out his left hand towards him and smashed it down against his head. Boom. The planks splashed and the bar was smashed to pieces. Wow, it's really fighting. PFF ha 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 ha, you really have it, Bellamy. Sarkis laughed, and he glanced around, looking for the madman who had embarrassed them just now. Meanwhile, Sauron drew his sword and placed it by Bellamy's neck. Bellamy's eyes widened. What do you want, little bastard? It should be me, just ask you, Zoro said with a gloomy face. Sauron, wait a minute, we haven't heard anything yet. Nami stopped them in a panic. At this time, she has not undergone much training, and she still has a timid side, trying her best to avoid conflicts. If it was Enel, there would be no conflict between fighting and asking for information. It's better to ask if you're convinced. Stop talking, I'm just accepting the provocation. Huh, did you stand up? Ha 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 ha, Bellamy said with a big laugh when he saw Luffy stand up. Very good, you have a seed. Luffy wiped the wound cut by the sharp wooden break with the back of his hand, and assumed a fighting stance. Huh, did you hear that? That kid wants to fight Bellamy. Wahahaha, fight, fight. The people in Mogu town were a little abnormal. When they saw someone fighting, they excitedly encouraged them. Ha ha ha, this isn't a fight, it's a test. Come on, let me see how much you weigh. Bellamy showed interest, as if a senior was guiding his junior. Wait, Luffy. Nami still wanted to calm down. She made up her mind to ask the news and left. Originally he wanted to ask the bartender, but Enel is such an old bird here, so she changed the object of the inquiry. Enel, we want to go to the Sky Island. Do you know any clues about it? Please tell us how to get to the empty island. A moment of silence, then a burst of laughter. Ha 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 ha. Some people slapped the table, some covered their mouths, and some spilled wine while hooking their shoulders. Empty island. Ha 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 ha, get around me. A man who was missing his front teeth burst out laughing. Yes, what's so funny? Look, the record pointer really points to the empty island. Nami argued. Does the record pointer point to the sky? Ha ha ha, that means your pointer is broken. Nami blushed at their mockery. Ha 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 ha, Bellamy laughed while holding the bar. Hey, I really can't stand you guys. Where are you from? Do you believe in that old-fashioned legend? What kind of island in the sky? Ha ha, what era are you from? The mysteries of the ever-changing ocean currents on the Great Route have been solved one by one. The sky current is one of them. Nami looked puzzled and looked at Bellamy in confusion. Her expression made Bellamy look down on them even more. It looks like you don't even know about this. Countless ships were swallowed up by the current, pushed into the air, and then dropped into the sea from the air. Those ignorant navigators of the past saw their ships fall, and they created empty islands out of thin air. There is another world in the sky, there is a reason behind any bizarre phenomenon, haha. The reason for the so-called dream has now been revealed. Bellamy shook his head and chuckled, and the people on the side laughed at Luffy and the others. Enel chuckled, watching the group of clowns jump up and down. Luffy was dumbfounded, not knowing what he was thinking. Zoro and Nami were silent. It's really disappointing. I wanted to test you and make you a crew member of the new era. I didn't expect you to be an idiot. Golden Country, Jade City, one piece of the great secret treasure. Listen up. The era of pirates seeking dreams is over. Chapter 290, Bellamy, you keep on drifting. In Magic Valley Town, a white clock tower. 17 years ago, it was the tallest building in the town, but it was only overshadowed by the continuous rise of new buildings. It was engraved in large characters, Enel is here. The clock tower was originally the gathering place of the largest gangster here. Later, the gang was wiped out, and the clock tower did not have its original appearance. With the passage of time, the town has developed, and the central area where the clock tower was originally located has also become a remote corner. On the bell tower lived a chattering old man, his blonde hair was thinning. He became bald and weaker. The original underworld leader has also become an ordinary old man. He always said that these words were left by the devil who caused the tragedy of Darkness Day, 17 years ago. If they dared to get rid of them, everyone would die. The devil will come back one day. There are always some idiots who are blindfolded by the treasure dream and turn a blind eye to the immediate interests. Obviously they have the strength to dominate this ocean, but they die because of the illusory fantasy. Those idiots who died would be said, those guys are living their dreams from beginning to end, what a blessing. Ha ha, this is a great satire on the bereaved dog. I just see those idiots daydreaming. I'm sick to the core. Bellamy swung the bottle and knocked Luffy on the head. It's because of weak guys like you that dragged us real pirates back. Ping pong. The sound of the broken wine bottle was like the sound of a bell, making the whole bar boil. Ah, that guy is totally vulnerable. Hey, Bugs, get out. Don't stink our wine. Bellamy was right. Go away. Get out of this town. For a time, all kinds of debris flew to Luffy: wine glasses, wine bottles, dinner plates. Ha, hey, Bellamy, everyone can't wait. Hurry up and show. Sakis was completely attracted by the movement here, gave up looking for Madman, and urged him. I'll be more respectful than obedient. Ha. Luffy, Zoro, come on, don't care about the promise. Beat up these bastards. Nami shouted angrily. Boom. Anal slammed the glass on the bar, and cobweb-like cracks spread from the bar. Overwhelmed by all the voices, Ridicule suddenly stopped. Hum, ask me if I have any clues about the Sky Island. My answer is the Sky Island, it exists. I've been there, Luffy. Enel smiled and pointed his index finger to the sky. The scene fell into silence again, and then burst into laughter. Ha, is this guy the same as the Straw Hat? He said he's been to the Sky Island. Stop laughing at people. Ha, in addition to the idiot, there is actually a neurotic here. Hey, Bellamy, isn't this guy the madman, just now? Ha, I'm too embarrassed to care about him. The guy with a sick mind. Sarkis looked at Enel and said aloud, laughing out loud. Hey, in our hometown of Beihai, people used to say, a liar will be executed like Noland. What, do you want to end up with him too? Bellamy said. Enel ignored them and looked at Luffy. Hey, I came to this island 17 years ago, and a lot of people laughed at me back then. I killed them all. What will you do, Luffy? 17 years ago. The bartender looked at Enel thoughtfully. Did the orange-haired woman just call him Enel? He always felt that the name was a little familiar. The man with the hat behind Sarkis is also Bellamy's partner. He felt that Enel was a little familiar. Ha, how old were you 17 years ago? There must be a limit to lying. 17 years ago, what a coincidence at this time. Ha, you wouldn't say you were the devil in that town legend, would you? The pirates laughed. Zoran, this fight absolutely can't be fought. Luffy was not affected by Enel, and still insisted on his original will. Zoro nodded. He understands Luffy. What are you talking about? This fight can't be fought. You mean you can fight with me? Then I'll clean you up first. Bellamy stuck out her tongue and rolled her lips. Lock up. Your attitude makes me more disgusting than that lunatic. Bellamy took his men and beat Luffy and Zoro. Wow, ha. See, he's standing up again. He. You should teach them a lesson like that kind of useless person. Let them understand that this is not the kind of place for daydreaming people. Luffy, Zoro, what did you do? Fight back. Beat these people away. Nami shouted in despair, her voice shrill and helpless. Enel, hurry up and help. Ha. It's useless, miss. Your partner is very self-aware. The person who knows the current affairs is Junji, but it's really shameful. As for that lunatic, we'll take care of him later, don't worry. Sachi looked at Luffy contemptuously. Ha, what a shame for this captain. Is there no place to spend the Navy's money recently? Even the head of this dwarf winter melon is worth 30 million. Bellamy seemed to be talking too much. He was a little thirsty. He drank a glass of wine, wiped the drink from the corner of his mouth, and said, do you want to adopt non-resistance? That sounds good. Actually, it is weak and incompetent, without self-esteem, timid and afraid of things, just unrealistic daydreams. To put it bluntly, it's a coward. It's really disappointing to stop playing. I didn't expect that 30 million Bailey's head would be like this. It's the first time I've encountered such a coward. PFFT. Bellamy sprayed Luffy's head with a sip of wine. Hey, get away from me. It's an eyesore. Boom. Luffy and Zoro were slammed into the wall by their heads. Luffy, Zoro. Nami ran over with concern. Girl, follow that group of guys, you will never make it. Why don't you give you some money and change to us? Make a price, Sarkis said. Nami's face was gloomy. She loved money, but she would never get it like this. Anil sat on the sidelines and watched the show. Zoro and Luffy looked bloody, but in fact they didn't suffer much damage at all. These scum attacks were nothing in the face of their powerful physiques. You really know that? You're going to buy me, aren't you? Yes, come to us, make sure you are happy. Sarkis thought there was a drama. What happened? It's not right. Did Nami betray like this? Enel was a little puzzled by Nami's attitude. After a long time, he also forgot many details. Immediately reacted, and realized that Nami's question was not sincere at all. He thought that Nami would quote an astronomical price next. For example, use 1 piece to buy me or something to tease Sarkis. But she heard her say, unfortunately, you little bastards, I don't like you at all. So direct. That's right, Nami's character has a pungent side. She couldn't be bothered to sneer at something like Sarkis. Chapter 291 Man's Dream. Will not end. Haha, what a woman who can't help herself. Wahahaha, it turns out that they are all fools. There is no hope. Take those two and disappear quickly. While they're still alive, little bastards, Bellamy said to Nami. Oh, come on, don't let me see you again, said the man in the baseball cap. Nami dragged Luffy and Zoro out of the hotel. Luffy and Zoro didn't move, they opened their eyes and were silent. Sky Island does exist, a voice suddenly came from the front. Thief, ha 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 ha, the cherry pie here is really delicious. Nami looked at Titch. You are the one just now. Little girl, what can't you figure out? The two people obviously won the fight just now. Zoro and Luffy stood up and patted the dust off their bodies. Titch continued. What those guys call New Age is a piece of shit. The era of pirate treasure hunting has come to an end. People's dreams. It will never end. Am I right? Bullying people doesn't necessarily make them happy. Hey, why are you yelling suddenly? The people on the side were startled by Titch and said dissatisfiedly. What's the dream of the person you said? Ha 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 ha, your brain is broken too. Tiki disregarded the ridicule of the people around him and laughed out loud. The thief, ha 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 ha, as long as you lock in your target, let him laugh when he wants to laugh, and you don't have to use your fists to fight. Come on, said Sauron. Luffy and Tiki looked at each other and turned back. Oh, did I bother you? Are you in such a hurry to go? It's good to go if you need to. Go to the empty island. Thief, ha 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 ha, today's wine is really good. Titch was drinking the unpleasant wine he just brought out from that bar. The taste of the wine has not changed, it has become a human heart. Hey, that guy mentioned the Sky Island just now. Maybe there will be some clues. Who is he? And that guy Anil is still in the shop. I don't know, but it's not that guy and it's not like Anil. Luffy said something that made Nami inexplicable. Not that guy. Who is that? Nami looked puzzled. It's those guys. Probably. Zoro understood what Luffy was talking about. They were very sensitive to people's breath. What do you mean? That guy just now has a partner. Where is it? Luffy and Zoro knew each other. Only Nami was blank, completely understanding what the two of them were talking about. Titch didn't leave, still sitting on the street, paying attention to the movement in the bar. He was a little concerned about the inexplicable feeling he had when he first saw Enel, and wanted to make sure. Hey, you're still here. Bellamy looked at Enel. That straw hat kid just made me lose my interest. You're lucky, get out of here. Don't get in the way of my eyes. Ha 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 ha, hurry up and get out of here, get out of here. Difficulty Bellamy's kindness, I'll let you go. Sarkis laughed. Hum, I saw a good show. I haven't seen you for a long time, you bastards have become more courageous. Bellamy. Enel's deep laughter made Saki's uneasy for a while. The empty island doesn't exist. A group of frogs in the bottom of the well will only croak. If you don't even have the courage to go to the world, how can you clearly see the direction of the new era? Doflamingo's face has been disgraced by you. Quote. Anal pointed his index finger at Sarkis. Black bullet. The black energy ball flew towards him, and the speed was so fast that everyone didn't react much at all. Boom. The bursting energy ball turned into a violent shock wave, shattering his abdomen. Sarkis fell in a pool of blood, and the bright red blood stained the floor red. The famous fashionable man also looked glamorous and dazzling in the blood. How could it be in the end cough? After vomiting a mouthful of blood, Sarkis was completely silent. Ah! The blonde woman sitting next to him screamed. Just what did he do? What exactly happened? That big sword Sashes was killed without any resistance. Hey Sarkis, you're not kidding, get up. The blonde woman pushed his body. He must have used some despicable means. Damn, kill him and avenge Sarkis, said the hooded man in the Bellamy Pirates. Bellamy stared at Neil with a hint of panic in her expression. He knew the ability of Sarkis, and even he himself would not dare to say that he could solve Sarkis so easily. But the person in front of him just raised his finger. With such an inconspicuous action, the number 2 combat power of their pirate group, Sakis, was killed. Who are you? Who are you? I remembered, he is Neil, the Black Coffin Neil. One of the 7 kings under the sea, Doflamingo's collaborator. The man wearing the ball cap shouted in horror. What? 7 Marshall Seas. Why did such a big man appear here? He just said he's been to the Sky Island. Does the Sky Island really exist? There is no need to lie to us for such an existence. When the strength is sufficient, no matter how absurd it is, others will not easily veto it. Instead, I will think first, is it really my fault? Hey, don't mess around. We are Doflamingo's subordinates, the woman wearing sunglasses screamed. Brother Doflamingo doesn't care about your dispensable little characters, so he's humiliating you. He probably should take the initiative to clean up the door. It's just a prodigal dog. Enel spread his hands. Boom. Bellamy, who looked at Enel, was too frightened to move. He saw death in Enel's eyes, the destruction that reduced everything to nothingness. It seems that it is not a human eye, but a god. Is the devil, is a monster. I'm not interested in you little bastards anymore. There's a troublesome guy waiting for me outside, get out of the way. Enel flicked his arm and knocked Bellamy aside, who was standing in front of him. Boom. The blasted Bellamy had a close contact with the wall. Cobweb-like cracks appeared on the wall. Bellamy felt like he had been hit by a cannon in the chest. I don't know how many ribs were broken, and the internal organs were also severely impacted. He was just stuck in the wall, unable to move. We've also seen the clown scene of the little minion. It's time to meet the real opponent. Enel walked out, and then stopped at the door of the bar. You said so. Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach. Chapter 292 Life Mentor Blackbeard. Thief, ha 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 ha, you know me. Titch was eating cherry pie, his cheeks bulging like a hamster, and he looked harmless to humans and animals. How could you not know each other? Have you done something that doesn't count for yourself? Enel narrowed his eyes. I didn't expect that you would be chased by you. I thought it would be Dad's person who came to the door first. Shichibukai Enel Viserys Lefwart. 10 years ago you surprised me when you announced the reward for the dark fruit. But it fell into my hands. In the end it was that fruit that chose me. Titch laughed, with crazy joy, ambition and fanaticism burning in his eyes. Ah yes, the god of destiny is indeed on your side, and what was supposed to be in my hands but was taken away by you. Enel's face was gloomy. The fruit chose me, is the word he hates the most right now. Looking at Titch's smiling face, Neil wanted to directly beat him into a pig's head. How you will pursue the dark fruit, and you should know its power, right? It's very fascinating ability, isn't it? The thief, ha ha ha, come and conquer the world with me. Your power, plus my strength, the seat of the 4 emperors is no longer a problem. Come on, Enel, become my right-hand man. Let us his name resounds through the sea. As long as we join forces, one piece will not escape our palms. Titch opened his mouth to solicit anal. His expression was serious, with an unusually confident pride, and his contagious words carried a hint of encouragement and temptation. Okay, Anal replied. Don't be too busy to refuse Titch was stunned. He thought Anal would refuse, and was still thinking about how to persuade further, but he did not expect the other party to agree so directly. It was useless to ask him to prepare. Didn't turn around for a while. I'm so happy. It's great that you can become my partner. I believe you will understand in the future that this is the best choice you made. Titch didn't know what Neil was thinking. The other party was a Chihuahua, and he knew that he would not give in so easily, but since Neil agreed, he would not be turned away because of doubts. He believed that his bearing and charisma would surely be able to convince Anal. Well, very good. Call the captain. This is the wisest choice you have made. For your sincerity, I will accept you as a little brother. Anal nodded solemnly. Are you joking? Titch lost his smile. Huh, didn't you say you want to be my partner? Don't you want to take the initiative to surrender and be my subordinate? Anal was serious. It's not like you. Titch held the bottle. Neil looked stunned. What does it mean that I am not like this? Why do you say such weird things like Luffy? Tiki's evaluation of Enel was exactly the same as Luffy's, but Enel couldn't understand what they were saying. Are you too sure you didn't collude? Both of them said such ambiguous words, and they both wanted to be gods, right? Hey, you change your mind again and don't want to be my brother, so just say it. Don't talk about nonsense. I don't have time to play guessing games with you. Anal felt Nami's helplessness. Thief, ha 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 ha, the person that Roger is waiting for will definitely not be like you. The big secret treasure will not be given to a person who has no dreams. Maybe you didn't even notice it yourself. You are confused. You are not at all. Just no dreams. Tiki's words rang in Anal's ears like a twilight drum and a morning bell. You are actually no different from the mediocre guys in Gaia. The difference is that you are stronger and more knowledgeable. Your aura is raised by being a high-ranking person for a long time and ruling over others. You are not a born tyrant, nor do you have the qualifications of a king. Quote. You are simply a confused person who has lost his way in the sea. You are powerful, but where can your power be used? Have you really used your terrible power so far? You really feel that is the current world wonderful? Neil was stunned. He really did not have a clear direction, wandering in this world like a ghost. He wanted to see strange landscapes around the world. Is that a dream? No, it's just that he's so boring. Chasing strength. I once thought of defining what justice is by myself. Is this a dream? Not exactly. He just wants to become stronger. After becoming stronger, no one can take his life. To put it bluntly, he is afraid of death. Fear of death, afraid of being bullied by others because of weakness, and do not want to be deprived of life by others for no reason. So want to get stronger. But in order to become stronger, he also dared to use his life as a bet, and dared to fight the monsters on the sea for important resources. I don't know since when he has fallen into such a vicious circle. It seems that it is really just to become stronger and stronger, to chase strength for the sake of strength. Anal does not have a fixed dream, everything is done at will. Thief, ha 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 ha, you really don't have a goal. Isn't this kind of life boring? How about do you want to follow me? I'll take you to see this vast sea, and take you to see the wonderful world. Come on with me, to understand the meaning of life. Titch bewitched. Anal rolled his eyes. Automatically translates Titch's words into, do you want to understand the meaning of life? Do you want to really live? Titch, why don't you play Infinite Horror? Anal is indeed a little weak in spirit, and his spirit is not proportional to the strength of his body. Although he is far superior to ordinary people in terms of soul, he is still lacking in front of powerhouses of the same level. The only thing to be commended is the ability to endure pain. His way of fighting injury for injury. If he can't bear the pain, he can't play at all. But he was not so empty of soul that he would be bewitched by others. That's a weakness that only a wounded soul has. Yeah, this world is so boring, and a life without a goal is so empty. Anal nodded in agreement. That's right, then come to me. I'll give you goals and give you dreams. Titch stretched out his soliciting handle to him. Such a boring world, let's just destroy it. I don't have much patience, so let's not talk about my dreams that are too long ago. Let's have a small goal, for example, kill the bastard who stole my stuff. Ano stared at Titch, full of killing intent. He just thought about it for a while, and found that he ran into Tiki, and the odds seemed to be high. Chapter 293. Two people attracted to each other. Ano originally wanted to capture Ace after Blackbeard and send it to the Navy headquarters before attacking him. But now that I have encountered it, how can I not try it? The dark fruit is beckoning to him right in front of him. Devour him, devour him. Ever since he met Titch, there was such an urge in his heart. Ano believes in his own intuition very much. The superintuitive sense that the dragon fruit brings him, whether it is the detection of danger or the perception of things that are beneficial to him, basically can't go wrong. That kind of beast-like intuition has saved him countless times. At first, he was afraid of Titch's ability, so he didn't take action right away. Instead, he carefully thought about the strength comparison between the enemy and us. After accounting for the dragon transformation bonus, Ano's physique is comparable to a Kainu, and slightly better than Tick. But because of the ability of Tiki's dark fruit, dragon transformation may be invalid. After being targeted by Tiki's dark water, it was almost impossible to escape. In the case of not counting the dragon transformation, Ano feels that he is not as good as Tiki in terms of the normal form of the body. Refer to the battle between Tiki and Ace. It takes time to attract dark water. On the way to being attracted, you can use a long-range attack to output a wave, and then the two sides make close contact. At this time, he should also be able to punch Titch again. Both of them are playing head-to-head, and there is no need to consider dodging. That is to say, in one round, he can output two waves, one more round than Tick. In addition, when the two sides are separated, their fruit ability will also recover, and they can quickly recover from the injury. Tick has to bear twice the pain, which is generally beneficial. And with such close contact with Tick, I did not feel that Tick had the ability to bring him fatal danger. So Neil decided to fight a wave to say, the big deal is to run away. Anyway, this fat man can't fly. As for Ace, what should I do if the war can't start without being caught? Living comfortably without anybody's help. No need for Titch, Ano will catch Ace by himself. Moreover, if the power of the complete dark fruit can be obtained, then Ano's development speed will be greatly increased. Devil fruits are rare and rarely sold. In 10 years, he only collected 73. But with the dark fruit, it is different. The news of the ability person is much better than that of the devil fruit. Hunt the ability person, and then seize the ability. This is many times more efficient than buying fruit. In addition, the artificial devil fruit research on Caesar's side is about to succeed. After getting the dark fruit, Ano is confident that he can defeat the Whitebeard pirates within 2 years even if he does not go to war. Seeing Neil like this, Titch also knew that conflict was inevitable. There is no way, we can only fight. That's right, a man like you really won't surrender to a nobody like me. Thief, ha 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 ha. I am also very interested in you. The attraction is mutual, and when Anir is desperate for the dark fruit, Tiki is also eager for Anir's ability. Although he didn't know what kind of fruit Enel was, the throbbing in his heart told him that the other party's ability was very useful to him. The devil of the dark fruit is eager to devour each other. Tiki worships the power of Whitebeard, and the shock fruit is the first choice for his second devil fruit, but he is also a person who dares to gamble. Since the dark demons he has have all given such obvious signals, Tiki doesn't mind taking a gamble, taking his future as a bet. His reliance is only on his sudden intuition. The thief, ha 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 ha. I killed my best friend Sachi to get the power, let you come and see it. Titch looked gloomy. Darkness emerged from his body and turned into a plume of smoke rising into the sky. The darkness spreads, the creeping darkness seems to be alive, eroding everything around it. Hey look, what is that? Darkness. Anyone who is capable. This is Some old people on the island suddenly changed their faces when they saw this familiar scene. At this moment, they remembered the nightmarish scene 17 years ago. It's the devil. The devil has really appeared again. Everyone, run away, they shouted in horror, desperately fleeing into the distance. People who don't know the truth also joined the fleeing team after seeing so many people fleeing in a hurry. Waiahaha isn't that the captain, he is going to have a big fight here. Vashus stood on a roof, looking at the darkness in the distance and laughing. Oka glanced at Enel and nodded, so is this fate that man really needs the captain's full strength? Today is the dividing line of fate. Q joined the fleeing team, but the strength of his old horse was really uncomplimentable, and he fell to the ground after only 2 or 3 steps. In the end, 2 good-hearted people put them on the cart. Well, what is that? Zoro looked at the darkness rising into the sky with a puzzled expression. Luffy also stood still, staring blankly at the dark area, and said, I'm afraid it's that guy. He made this judgment based on his intuition. Look, how do I feel a little bit like Enel's ability? Nami yelled. Seeing that people in the town were busy escaping for their lives, her thief's heart rose again, and her eyes rolled. Zuorin, Luffy, why don't we take this opportunity to make a fortune? But she was afraid of the weird darkness, and she was a little afraid by herself, so she wanted to pull Luffy and Zoro along. Come on, Nami, we'll meet the ship first. Zoro said, that thing makes me feel weird. Titch looked suspiciously at the residents of Magic Valley Town who were rushing for their lives. He clearly hadn't shown his strength yet. Why did those guys who like to watch the fun just run away like this? Did you see it? This is the fruit I've been dreaming of, the power you can't get. The power of the dark fruit. The thief he didn't care too much about the performance of those people. In his opinion, ordinary people simply do not worth his effort. I'm the strongest. Look, this is the most ferocious ability in history. An alien in nature. I am now the darkness. The earth was completely shrouded in darkness, and a layer of ink-like substance rushed past his feet. Enel glanced at the ground beneath his feet and jumped to the top of the building. He was all too familiar with the power of darkness. It's useless. Darkness represents infinite gravity. Nothing can escape. Flame, light, thunder, can't escape the attraction of darkness. Feel it well, my invincible power. Teach burst with confidence. Arrogant, arrogant, arrogant. You will overturn like this. Enel reminded. Although he is able to manipulate the darkness himself, he is very knowledgeable about the characteristics of darkness. But he was tense at this time, and he didn't dare to be careless. After all, we are now facing the biggest hero in the pirate world. Chapter 294 Dark and Dark. Although Titch didn't know what it meant to roll over, he probably understood that Enel was mocking. The thief you'll understand later, my power. The power of darkness. Oh, is that so? Dark smoke emerged from Enel's body, and slowly rose to the sky, turning into a huge curtain that covered the sky. The ground also appeared in a darkness that was completely different from Titch. Enel mixed in the power of domineering, no less strange, but more violent and more aggressive. The darkness extending from Enel's feet collided with the darkness emanating from Tiki, like a stream of water in opposite directions. A dark high wall was provoked, blocking the two of them. The darkness is not like water, and this collision is also silent. You were right, Tiki. Darkness can indeed be called an invincible power, but no matter how good the fruit is, it is still the user who decides the outcome. Titch's acting style is similar to his own. Both of them are very forbearing people, and Enel doesn't mind chatting with him for a while. How could it be you is also dark? Tiki's face changed greatly. There shouldn't be two identical fruits. Are you the fruit of a branch with similar abilities? I see, this is the reason why you want the dark fruit. It is precisely because you have experienced the power of darkness that you are eager to obtain it. I was originally surprised that you are already a power user, but why you are so eager for the dark fruit, now I understand it all. It seems that you have also discovered the secret. The dark fruit can be compatible with the ability of the devil fruit. Thief, ha 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 ha, I'm pretty sure what I got is the real dark fruit, you still can't beat me. Titch quickly regained his composure, and after he understood the cause and effect, his murderous intentions began to rise. Since you have also discovered this secret, then I can't let you live. What a pity, I wanted you to be our partner. The arrogant fat man, are you so sure that you can win? Anal sneered. Both Titch and him have a flippant side, but Titch's satisfaction point is lower. At this time, Neil was not weak at all, and he was still not as careless as Titch. And only when he has an absolute advantage, will Anil be in high spirits. Dragon breath flash. The black light beam was extremely fierce, hitting Titch with the momentum of thunder. Boom. Titch is always a beat slower when he's not in a state. This is very similar to Luffy, it is not comfortable not to be beaten. It belongs to the kind that gets more and more courageous. The violent explosion formed the shock. Titch's big belly sank like a ball that was slapped hard. Wow, ah ah ah, he rolled on the ground without any image. It hurts me, it hurts me. Seeing Titch's ugly appearance, Anil couldn't help but feel contempt even if he knew his details. It's so frustrating. Titch got up, and there was not a single wound on his body. His injury was absorbed by twice the pain. Thief, ha 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 ha, your darkness seems to be a little different. That feeling just now, is it domineering? Using the compatibility of darkness to integrate domineering with it is really a genius idea. Looked at Anil. Dark water. Anil has been guarding against this move, but when he actually faced it, he still felt flustered. Even if he hasn't been caught by Titch, his ability is already showing signs of getting out of control. He felt powerless for a while, as if he had been pulled away from his strength. Before he started to resist, he felt a huge force from his shoulders. He was caught by Titch. At this time, he also overcame that feeling of powerlessness, and at the same time that Titch punched him, he punched Titch. Boom. Anil flew backwards. He didn't take into account that Titch was taller than him. Anil, who is 2 meters tall, in front of Tiki, who is more than 3 meters tall, is like a child facing an adult. Before Anil could attack Titch, he was already knocked out. Simply put, Anil is short-handed. Anil, who fell in the ruins, felt that the bones of his left arm were broken. Tiki's physical skills are very strong, and he can instantly burst into a very powerful force, and the additional domineering attack is even more terrifying. At this time, Anil's vitality was still sufficient, and the healing speed was very fast. When he walked out of the ruins, the injury had almost recovered. The resilience of the dragon fruit that is about to awaken is no less than the awakening of ordinary devil fruit. But his face was not very good-looking, and the 2 attack opportunities in this round were wasted. He had a MMP in his heart and bullied me for being short-handed. Thief, ha 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 ha, see, this is the power of the complete dark fruit. Titch burst into laughter. He felt that he had the upper hand. Since you released the reward for the dark fruit, I have also investigated you. It is estimated that you ate some animal-type devil fruit with the power to manipulate the dark. But after all, it is only incomplete. In the face of true darkness, your ability is so vulnerable. Although Tiki also thought about the direction of the phantom beasts, he didn't think it was a big problem. Not to mention the extreme rarity of Eudemons, and the ability that Anil showed at this time was already worthy of the name Eudemons. In his profile, Anil is a fly-type animal fruit person, and now he knows that he can manipulate the darkness, can greatly weaken the attack, and has not double the pain, which is already very powerful. Although it lacks the ability to attract the body and absorb damage, it is definitely a top fruit. He believes that the main abilities of Anil's fruit are reflected in ultra-high-speed flight and darkness, and the bonus to may not be very large. Titch is a person who is easy to be arrogant, and he has contempt when he sees Anil so powerless to resist. I was just a little careless. A blow of this magnitude doesn't have much effect on me. Anil wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and he was back to normal. There is no injury at all, just looking at the gray and puffy, rather embarrassed. The thief, ha ha ha, it's not just a matter of carelessness, right? I am the power of the devil that can attract the ability person. This is something you can't do. As long as I catch you, you can't use any ability. Titch puffed up a bit, bragging about his strength. You don't needlessly struggle. You are no match for me. Under the power of darkness, fear and despair, you have no chance of winning. Chapter 295 Fierce Battle. Whether it's nature, animal, or superpower, capable people are too confident in their abilities. For capable people in this world, I have the ability to make them unable to defend. Thief, ha 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 ha. I am very confident in my ability. I believe that under this ability, one day, I will grow to the point where the whole world is helpless. However, I have always liked to consider the worst case. A dark fruit with ineffective abilities, how could it be unprepared as long as you don't catch it? Enel has been collecting human corpses for a long time, and the effect of enhancing his own physique is now manifested. If you only rely on the devil's power of the devil fruit, or the vitality of animals to strengthen the dragon's own enhancement. And if there is no improvement in the physique in the normal form, Titch can let him get rid of half-life just now. The ability to resist beatings is an indispensable qualification for the powerhouses in the pirate world. Kaido is still alive and kicking in all kinds of death. Whitebeard can sweep thousands of troops without knowing how many attacks he has received. Akainu has been hammered so many times by Whitebeard, but he can still stand up and pursue Straw Hat. Luffy relies on the advantage of thick blood, abruptly drew Katakuri. Only Ace, suspected of being a little crispy, was punched to death among a group of blood cows. It turns out that you can't escape. Titch turned his left palm against Enel, and the dark water launched. Enel had sensed the difference between Tiki's dark water and his own. The dark water used by Enel is actually a directional dark cave that releases pure gravity. And Tiki's ability is the demon entity that locks the ability person. Unable to control his body, he flew towards Titch involuntarily. This time Enel had experience and was not as incapable of resisting as the first time. Dragon Breath Flash. There was not much time, and it was too late to use the black light flame, so he could only use this trick with moderate lethality and speed. Ah! Blackbeard screamed. Enduring the pain, he punched Enel. The latter blocked Titch's fist with his palm. A sideways kick to Titch's stomach. Tiki released his left hand from holding Enel, and then punched Enel in the face. Of course he will not stubbornly use the dark water and not let go. Physical skills are also his forte. At the end, when Titch hit Enel's face with his fist, a layer of fine dragon scales emerged. With domineering dragon scales offset most of the strength. Boom! A powerful punch smashed Enel into the rubble. Thief, ha 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 ha, I didn't expect you to be able to fight back in this situation. Very good fighting consciousness. Tick praised. Enel has stayed on Black Moon Island for 6 years, and he has the dragon and dragon fruit to improve his reflex nerves. In addition, he has a super intuitive sense of life crisis. His fighting consciousness is not completely scum, but for people of their level, it is still a drag on him. Enel, who stood up again from the ruins, did not have time to pay attention to Titch's contemptuous attitude towards his juniors, but recalled the feeling of the moment just now. After Tiki released his left hand and gave up using dark water, Enel used his power of darkness to touch the entity of Tiki's devil fruit. This means that even if the research on Caesar's side does not need to be carried out, Enel can obtain the ability of the dark fruit from Tiki's corpse. Originally, his dark ability was unable to capture the demonic entity of the capable person, so the pace of development in the past 10 years has been so slow. However, because of the particularity of the dark fruit, it resonated with the part of the black dragon fruit that represented darkness, and the two sides were attracted to each other. The black dragon and the darkness are related to each other. This lowers the requirements, allowing Enel to grab the dark fruit with his dark gravity. Of course, you have to turn Titch into a corpse first. Enel's gaze at Titch became even hotter. Dark water. Black dragon tooth sword. Boom. Darkness overflows, and the wind blows. The shock wave went back and forth, and there were no complete houses on the entire island. The wooden floor was smashed, and the town seemed to be stripped of a layer of clothing. Exposed flat soil. All the buildings are piled together like garbage, crooked. The bent steel bars are twisted into a twist. The distorted objects of Picasso's abstract paintings are as high as one floor. The two confronted each other, and the high-intensity shock wave that erupted even turned rocks more than 10 meters high into powder. Sawdust flew and fell like snowflakes. Waiahaha, the captain seems to be fighting very hard. Shall we go over and help? Bashes said with a smile, not at all worried about Captain Tiki, who had fallen into a hard fight. As expected of Chihuahua, if an ordinary person suddenly loses his proud super ability, he will panic and be slaughtered by others. But he still achieves this appearance with the captain, Oka sneered. Who wins and who loses? It's hard to say. If Captain Titch loses, what should we do? Shall we go to that anal? Poison Q was weak. Hey, you two, have confidence in the captain. As long as he is alive, he will be our captain. Bashes yelled at them. This is the Blackbeard pirates. They are not absolutely loyal to their captain, nor are they absolutely obedient. Will not seek revenge for the loss of the captain. They trusted their captain. As long as Blackbeard is still alive and has power, then they will recognize the status of Captain Blackbeard, recognize his leadership, and maintain his authority. But once Blackbeard was killed, their team would fall apart. Dead Blackbeard, just a dead man. They wouldn't mind going under the new captain, even if that guy killed their old captain. What keeps the Blackbeard pirates together has never been friendship and fetters, but profit and power. Boom. The sound of explosions was incessant. The strength of Neil and Titch is not much different, and both of them are the type of thick blood and reckless fighting. Tiki can absorb damage and has an amazing will. Even if he suffers twice the pain, he can still fight for a long time. Enel can recover from injuries, has a huge amount of vitality, and the war of attrition is not a problem at all. The two of them kept fighting and fighting. Most of the islands were affected. The corner of the island where the town was originally located was beaten to pieces. The sun was setting, and they had beaten the night from noon. But it didn't mean to stop in the slightest, instead it became more and more intense. The pirates who escaped into the forest looked in horror at the place where the darkness tangled and slaughtered. Are those two monsters? They actually defeated the present, such a fierce battle is their physical strength unlimited. The town was destroyed. It's not just the town, this island. What will it look like? Chapter 296 Shichibukai Conference. Hey, it's really fake. It's too scary. Zoro looked at the darkness rising from the distant island. The island trembled, the sound of the roar of the atmosphere, and cold sweat broke down on his face. Is this the top battle on the Great Waterway? It's really powerful. Sanji was smoking a cigarette, his face darkening. My brave sea warrior Usopp won't be afraid of these. Things are developing like this, so I won't hide it. In fact, I can beat 7 of my kind of guy. Usopp told himself, thumbs up, bowing his head slightly. He looks like he has no enemies and is lonely as snow. Wow, you can hit 7. That's amazing. Usopp, you're so amazing. Simple Chopper believed, with little stars in his eyes. Hey, this lie is too ridiculous, Nami spit out. Luffy, don't put too much pressure on us, we will definitely become stronger. Our voyage has just begun. Sanji said, looking at Luffy who was silent. What, you can hit 7? That's amazing. Usopp, he also believed. Sanji patted his head, idiot, no matter how you look at it, it's all a lie. Huh, is it a lie? Luffy and Chopper said in unison, very surprised. Of course it is. Zoro was speechless to the two living treasures. The Mary was on its way to Kuruk's seat. They were far from the shore, and the battle between Enel and Titch made them not dare to get too close to the island. Otherwise, it would be wrong for the ship to be overturned by the aftermath. Robin dragged his chin. Perhaps the shock over there could reach us, smashing the ship to pieces. Then the vortex of the wreck would drag us into the gloomy sea floor until divers found our bodies a few hundred years later. Hey Robin, don't tell a bad joke seriously, okay? Usopp pointed out her mistake righteously. What I said may not be completely zero. Robin's face looked a little gloomy in the sun. Wow, Robin is so scary. Chopper turned around in fright. He of course our ship doctor will not be transported to this situation. Really? Of course, Robin looked kindly, because the sharks will eat your corpse without bones. Chopper's expression froze, and at this moment it felt that Robin's smile was like the gaze of a demon. They found Kuruk, and after listening to his description, they decided to get on the ocean current and head to the empty island. Hey, we don't have to do this, right? Just ask Enel when you have a chance. He should know how to get up. Didn't he say he's been there? Nami replied. But there's no way to ask about it like that. Usopp looked at the scene of the cracking ground that day in the distance. Idiot, shut up. As long as we stay here for 4 days, the pointer will have a good magnetic force, so we don't have to sit on the current that knows it's unreliable. Oh, Usopp nodded, looking at Nami with admiration. It turns out that lying can be so invisible. He has learned a lot. Luffy's hearing is very good. He came over and shouted, "Hey Nami. I heard it all. Go to the Sky Island, definitely go to the Sky Island, we will set sail immediately." Nami and Usopp burst into tears. Holy land, Mary Joa. What the red-haired he? Well, it's already about to move. He probably hasn't gone out in person yet, but only dispatched his subordinates to make contact. But it's too dangerous to let the red hair and the white beard come into contact with each other, said the Navy who came to report. It's true it's very difficult to annoy the Red Hair Club. Although he is not the kind of careerist who wants to manipulate the world, the contact between the four emperors can't be careless. That's a force that can directly impact the naval headquarters. The curly-haired 5 old stars had a solemn expression on their faces. Let's do nothing for now. What's more important now is the successor of the sand crocodile. The embankment of 1,000 miles is destroyed in the ant's nest, and a small mistake can make a big mistake. Once the 3 major power camps collapse, it will directly impact the world, and it is necessary to maintain a balance of power, said the blonde 5 old stars. Yes, so we are anxious to go to the Chihuahua Sea and discuss the candidate for the next Chihuahua position. The Navy was half-knelt on the ground, his head lowered, and his face could not be seen clearly. Damn sand crocodile, actually stabbed such a big basket, and the person who defeated Crocodile, it seems that he can't let it go. Birthmark Wu Laoxing held Luffy's reward. In Mary Joa's square, the loudspeaker played the message. There was a hint of metal in the female voice. The king's next Chihuahua has been arriving from Marineford to Mary Joa one after another. First of all, Don Quixote Doflamingo, Bartholomew Bear, and the representative of Anal Viserys Lefwart Carter Lefwart. Quote. 2 rows of navy injustice coats line the sides. The wind blew their coats, a chill and solemnity. Doflamingo walked at the front, dressed in pink feathers and fashionable, wearing cropped trousers, walking with a figure of 8 steps, a pair of mad and rebellious. Bear wears black gloves and holds a Bible, expressionless. Carter, who was walking at the end, was carrying a travel bag with a diameter of 5 meters, which was extraordinarily unusual. It looks left, looks right. The Navy on both sides were expressionless, with solemnity and seriousness. Carter was very surprised to see them motionless. Meow, aren't you tired from standing like this? It was not answered. I sensed it with sight, and it was indeed a human being, not a sculpture. Why didn't I speak or move? It also jabbed this, scratched that, and dangled a fish in front of a Navy. The Navy was full of black lines, cursing Enel in their hearts. If you don't come, why don't you send such a representative here? Are you sure it's for a meeting and not a tour? Hey, have you had enough? Let it go. When Carter grabbed a Navy's beard, he finally couldn't help the seizure and glared at Carter. Meow, Carter was taken aback and glared back at him. What fierce, want to fight duel? Carter originally wanted to talk about a fight, but suddenly thought that this was on the opponent's territory, and the fight was not good for him. So it changed to a heads up. Humph, Carter turned his head when he saw that the other party had no words, and followed Doflamingo with a catwalk. Carter, 4 meters high and 3 meters 5 wide, walked on the passage. The originally wide aisles were a bit crowded. There is a white round table in the center of the conference room, and a plate of flowers is placed in the center for decoration. Several chairs form a circle. Before the meeting started, Doflamingo was sitting on the balcony railing. Carter found a sofa and made it up. Mary Joa's stuff is just good quality. Carter sat on the sofa and didn't break it. It just made a crunching sound and it seemed like it might collapse at any moment. Chapter 297 Shichibukai Conference 2. Hey, stop. What are you doing? One navy choked another. His face was terrified, as if possessed by a ghost. It's not me, it's my hand, it moves on its own. Body, it's not listening. What nonsense. Don't make trouble. Now is not the time to play. Stop playing tricks, shouted the man who was strangled. Crane dragged his chin with a calm face. Brother Doflamming, you are the one who did it. They are all good boys, let them go. She had fought against Doflamingo many times, chasing him in the North Sea and fleeing in a panic. Although he only hurriedly corrects 1 or 2 moves each time, he still has a good understanding of his abilities. She was not worried about the lives of the 2 of them. This was the Holy Land Mary Joa, and Doflamingo knew how to behave and wouldn't mess around. Now this can only be said to be playing a harmless little joke. Foo ye, call them good boys, Staff Officer Crane, I really can't stand you. Since that's the case, you hurry up and make things clear. End the boring meeting early. Doflamingo totally fingered. Shang sat quietly with the Bible, as if he was a devout believer who was praying, and the movements around him could not affect him. Hurry up and stop. What kind of formality is this? Are you here for a meeting or a fight? A majestic roar came. I am sorry, I haven't said hello to everyone yet, scumbags at sea. He came to the scene with a seagull hat playing Sengoku. Bah, the goat has been standing in his gang. Meow, Carter looked at the goat, his eyes lit up, and the corners of his mouth drooled. Bah, the goat gave it a defiant look. In front of Carter, it was a little bit by bit, but it was not afraid at all. Such a spirit, it's really respectable. Then, it slowly hid behind the warring states. It seems to say, come on. I have a backstage. This is probably the courage it has to face Carter. Yang, the mouth really stinks. It's worthy of the name of the great Buddha. Meow. Carter suddenly slapped the table. Fish, why don't you even prepare fish? You called us all the way here, but you still don't prepare fish. You are trying to starve me to death and inherit my inheritance. What? Carter said angrily. Shouldn't everything be at the dinner table? Are you too stingy, or are the world governments so poor that they can't even manage food? Warring States glanced at it coldly. I didn't call you here to eat. Carter gave him a disdainful look, as if to say, in the end, it's still stingy. How about we eat roast whole lamb? Carter suggested. Bah, the goat was not calm. Let's start. No one will come if we wait any longer. One of the 6 has come, and one has sent a representative. To be honest, I'm already surprised. Sengoku sat down on a chair. That's right, I came here because Dressrosa's development was so smooth and I was bored. Doflamingo sat cross-legged on the table. So that's the case, so I'm getting a headache. The better you develop, the busier we will be. Warring States sneered. The relationship between the Navy and Shichibukai is definitely not a good one. Yang, do you seem envious? Da. Regular footsteps echoed in the hall, and a man with a big sword and a floral top hat walked over from the passage. Those orange-yellow pupils were as sharp as eagles. He was wearing a black trench coat with patterns on his arms, with a cross on his chest. I listened to all the useless nonsense for a long time, and I went to the wrong place. If the naval headquarters and Wangxia Chihuahai are confrontational, then what is the point of this round table? The words are cold and hard, and the words are sharp. The aura of the world's greatest swordsman can be seen at a glance. Hawkeye, the Navy, who had been manipulated by Doflamingo, shouted in surprise. Oh, the most unexpected man is here. Doflamingo was very surprised. Sengoku, whose face had not changed since entering the conference room, also showed a surprised look. Carter had no interest in Hawkeye, and sat at the round table like Doflamingo. La 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 la. Cracks spread from under its butt, and with a thud, the round table shattered into pieces. This time the round table is really gone. Mahawk. Waring states. Carter rubbed his butt. The quality of your table is too bad. The Navy headquarters really doesn't know how to treat guests. Meow. Hee, it's really lively here. So allow me to join the meeting. I wonder if you can, said a pale-skinned man with a crutched sword and a top hat. Who are you? Where did you come from? A Navy asked. Oh, your expressions are really serious. If you can, please allow me to participate in this gathering. I'm sure everyone is eager to find a successor. Raffi turned his crutches and danced a tap dance. Are you Lafayette? Crane revealed the identity of the intruder. Hey, who is he? Waring States asked. It's the security officer of the West Sea who was expelled from the country because of abusive violence. Oh, there are still people who remember me, not to mention the old things. I came here to recommend a person to become Shichibukai. Our Captain Marshall D. Teach. Titch. Doflamingo frowned, looking at Carter. Young, this is really interesting. Your captain is still alive. Didn't that fellow Anal trouble you? Tiki is the guy who betrayed the Whitebeard pirates. You have a lot of conflict with Shichibukai and Black Coffin Anal. Our Navy doesn't want to look for the next one after a few days. A successor, said the Warring States. He and Doflamingo are not very optimistic about Blackbeard. They are all aware of Enel's strength. And Tiki and Neil have irreconcilable contradictions. Everyone, don't underestimate our captain. Even if it is that Enel, it may not be the opponent of Captain Titch. Please remember, our name is the Blackbeard Pirates. Lafayette's face constant. Of course, the captain has also considered this point. We already have a sincere plan, please give us some time. Meow, you guys are very confident, then go for it, Carter said. Wouldn't Enel object? Doflamingo wondered. It's alright, I have full authority on his behalf. Carter was full of authority at this time. Young Warring States, let them do it, it's very interesting. Doflamingo supported Carter's attitude. Although he didn't know why Carter said that, it was undoubtedly inspired by Enel. He didn't mind selling Enel for a good one. Chapter 298 rushed to the sky. The sky was dark and overcast. This is not an ordinary black cloud, but a cumulus emperor cloud. Above that Yunzeng is the legendary Dream Island, the Sky Island. The Tsuruyama Allied forces sailed to the center of the eruption of the Maelstrom with their ship, the Mary, dressed as a coxcomb head. Hey Straw Hat Boy, you have to think about it carefully, and now it's too late to turn around. Once you reach the center of the vortex, you can only resign yourself to fate. Kuruk reminded Luffy. I won't look back, Sky Island, I'm here. Luffy was overwhelmed by the strong sense of adventure and couldn't stop excited. Ha, it really deserves to be the head of 30 million Baileys. Kuruk exclaimed, although people laugh at this as nonsense, but isn't it better? This is the so-called romance. Uncle, I'm a 100 million Bailey bounty, Luffy said. On Askar Island, Luffy knew about his bounty, but he didn't bother to show it off at the bar. What 100 million Baileys? The gorilla was startled. You're not joking, are you? Ape was still a little unconvinced. I won't lie, I'm the man who wants to become the Pirate King, Luffy yelled. Kuruk snuffed out the cigarette, and in less than an hour, his feet were already full of cigarette butts. It's a shame he didn't have lung cancer. I believe in you, you have such an attitude, even if you are the Pirate King, I will not doubt it. Roar. A huge roar interrupted them, and a huge blue sea king with a speckled pattern emerged from the water. The huge body that covers the sky and the sun is the size of the Mary with just one eyeball. Sea Kings. Nami and Usopp hugged each other shiveringly. Namishin, I'm scared too. Sanji opened his arms. Usopp, you bastard, get out of the way. Suddenly the Sea Kings struggled, and there seemed to be a huge force pulling it. In the eyes of everyone's astonishment, it was pulled into the vortex without any resistance. Thinking of going to the center of this kind of thing, except for the abnormal guy Luffy, the rest of the people's faces turned a little blue. Hey, I wish you all the best of luck. Go all the way. The orangutans had already left and shouted at Luffy. Oh bye, Uncle Chestnut Head, orangutan. Orangutan. The sea suddenly became calm, and then the huge vortex disappeared without a trace in an instant. Boom boom boom. A huge ocean current rises into the sky, connecting the water column between the sea surface and the sky, as if it is a pillar of the sky, with great momentum and spectacular. Even Gaia felt the huge vibration. Anal and Blackbeard glanced at the water column, and then fought together again. Rush to the sky. The Golden Mary seemed to have really become a bird, rushing upward without any scruples. Bearing and dreaming and hope, condensing faith and courage. It is a dream ship, a fearless ship. Sky Island, the shrine of God. A man with green hair was leaning on a sofa made of clouds, wearing a black imperial robe. His chest was bare, and his 8-pack abs were strong and tight. He had 2 pistols hanging from his waist and a gold bracelet on his left wrist. Behind him, 2 fair-skinned blonde women with wings stood respectfully. A plate of fruit is held in each hand. Banana, the green-haired man said softly without opening his eyes. The maid removed the banana peel and put it to the man's mouth. Lord God, Lord Liuhuo sighed. The big divine soldier Zhongshan hesitated. It doesn't matter, I know as she likes, she can play as she wants anyway, she will fix it if it breaks. But that's the seat of the gods. They are like this even if they are the creators of the proverbs, they can't be moved at will otherwise, how can the majesty of the gods exist? Dashin said. I said it all, let her change what, do you have any dissatisfaction? Milo opened his eyes, lightning flashed, and thunder roared. Rolling dark clouds covered the sky, and the silver snake tumbled. No, it was me who overstepped. Dashin, in a cold sweat, respectfully backed away. Huh, Milo looked surprised as if he had found something. What's the matter, Lord God? Ha ha ha, I found a few interesting guys. I really miss it. Except for the madman Enel, there are people who think of using this method to go to the Sky Island. We tried many times at the beginning, and we all failed in the end. I don't know what will happen to them. Milo sensed Luffy and the others. Wow, what should I do? It's about to fall. Usopp hugged the railing, tears streaming down his face. My wonderful life is coming to an end. Kia, see you in the next life. I said that this current must be unreliable. Hey, what's the use of talking about this now? We rushed up with the explosive power of the ocean current, so we can only resign. Zoro spread his hands calmly. Wahaha, that's funny. Luffy laughed heartlessly. At this critical juncture, Nami stood up and said, let's set sail. Huh. This is the sea. It's not an ordinary water column. It's a sky-high, ocean current. Plus updrafts. As long as it's the sea and the wind, I won't lose. Who is the navigator of this ship? Nami, full of confidence. She is like a light that shines into despair and illuminates the darkness. It's Nami. Everyone rekindled their confidence, they trusted their partner. Under the command of Nami, the Mary gradually accelerated, broke away from the current, and flew towards the sky with the hot wind. Fly up. Awesome. The ship is flying, Luffy shouted excitedly. As long as we follow the wind and the currents we can go anywhere. Toward the Cumulus Emperor cloud forward. Milo widened his eyes and said in admiration, oh, is this the ability of a navigator? Really amazing. He recalled the journey with Enel again, and every time he encountered a storm, it was dangerous. I bought a navigator Caroline, which is also a pitbull, compared to what Enel has. In the past, they wanted cooks without cooks, and sailors without sailors. They often went the wrong way by eating salted fish for meals. Look at the configuration of the Straw Hat Pirates, this is the official pirates. Even such a difficult current can be played. As for my previous voyage, sad. It's all tears. Huh. With a flash of lightning, Milo disappeared in place. Sir God, Dashan looked at the empty sofa with blue electric lights, and said to the maids, "Go down and rest, God doesn't need you for the time being." Yes. The maids slowly stepped back. Chapter 299. I'm a little herring, I love running away. Sky Island, Apayado. On the Yunhee River, a fish-headed boat was driving slowly. There are 3 empty sharks pulling in front. Sitting on the boat was a little girl with beige hair and blue eyes, holding a bear puppet in her arms. Her upper body is human, but her lower body is a fish tail, and the scales on her body are green like seaweed. This is a mermaid, small body, delicate like a puppet. In addition to her sitting place, the boat has a lot of space at the back, with a partition in the middle. Stacked with shells. Oh stinky Milo, you actually made the environment here so bad, Yunhee broke again. Bastard bastard. She slapped the bear puppet with her small fist, as if the puppet was a Milo in general. It's not bad, at least the soldier's autonomous activity time has increased, and it can be recharged at any time. Said a phone bug on the boat. In the sky, a huge ark floats. The bow is a huge and ferocious dragon's head, and the stern is white, inlaid with dense shells. The 8-sided rotor rotates at a high speed, and the air that lifts supports the hull to move slowly in the sky. As to why such a small rotor can provide the lift required for such a massive ship, only God knows. Anyway, in this world, scientists' coffins can't be held down. Huo, Dashan said that Milo went out and is not at home for the time being. Why don't we run away? The little mermaid suggested cheerfully. I'm not interested. The performance of Proverbs needs to be improved. The movement speed is too slow, and many blows can't be avoided. You can play by yourself, herring, pay attention to safety. Flowing fire in white clothes with bandages on his hands fiddling with various instruments. Let's elope. I heard that there is an island in Qinghai specializing in shipbuilding. Huo, don't you want to go? Herring's tone was full of temptation. Lu Huo was silent for a while, a little moved. She is a boatmaker and has an indescribable obsession with shipbuilding. It would be a grand occasion if everyone was a boatmaker on an entire island. No, wait for Milo, he will take us there in the future. Liu Huo shook his head, and then said to the mechanical soldier beside him, "Hey, the wind shell on the left seems to be a little damaged, and the flight path is wrong, hurry up and fix it." Yes, Lord Liu Huo. The mechanical soldier gave a military salute. Oh Huo is so boring. Why hasn't the person Milo was waiting for come? Look for a chance to knock Milo out, and then turn Huo away. Herring took out a shell from the back cabin, and threw it to the front. Repair the broken cloud river. She glanced at the dark clouds in the sky, lightning flashed. An empty shark consciously picked up the shell and opened its mouth wide. Herring picked up the shell that had used up Haiyan, and threw it into the belly of the ship. Ha. The straw hats who went to the empty island were not used to the lack of oxygen at high altitude, and gasped heavily. They had trouble breathing, their eyes were dim, and the lack of oxygen in their brains caused dizziness. Soon, they never recovered from the fit. I have to say that the physique of Pirate World is really strong. Hey, everyone, look. Outside the ship, Luffy was the first to recover, completely attracted by the sight in front of him. The endless clouds, sacred, holy, tranquil, distant, beautifully not like the world, as if they were in heaven. Cloud. We are on top of the cloud. Hey Nami, have we reached the empty island? Luffy asked after seeing the island for a long time. Not yet, this should be Konkai. Look, the record pointer is still pointing up. Where's the middle of the cumulus clouds? Robin sat on the railing. So you have to go up again. But what to do? Chopper asked. I don't know either. It seems that we can only take one step. We don't know anything about this place. Don't let our guard down. Nami reminded. However, after she finished speaking, Luffy had already jumped onto an island cloud, jumping up and down like a trampoline. Wow, look, it's so interesting. Soft. Hey Luffy, do you really listen to people? Nami complained. Wow, so interesting. Usopp and Chopper also jumped up. Chopper lay on the cloud with a happy face. It's soft, like cotton candy. Forget it, ignore these idiots. Nami waved her hand, looking helpless. Huh. The blue light flashed, and the arc jumped. The grand light was fleeting, as if there was a silent lightning strike. Hey, what was that just now? Ray. Nami covered her eyes with her hand. I don't know, but something seems to be coming. Zoro held the handle of the knife. I hope it's not a troublesome guy. If it's friendly, then it's better. If you want to fight, we're not vegetarian. Sanji kicked the deck with his toes. Hey, look, there are people there. Luffy was on the cloud reef, looking farther. In the place where the lightning flashed just now, a man wearing a black imperial robe with a green head, his broken hair fluttering in the wind. Luffy, is there anyone? Let's go and ask, Nami said. No, because he's already here. Luffy replied. Yo, are you still pirates? Milo stood on another cloud reef and looked at Luffy from a distance. In the middle of them is a river of clouds, and the Mary is parked in it. Yes, I'm the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Luffy shouted. Oh, One Piece, you are very ambitious. You are from Qinghai, right? I am also from Qinghai. Milo said with a smile. Ah, you came here from Qinghai too. Are you sitting on the ocean current? Nami asked in surprise. She thought that outside of them, no one would go to the island. After all, the situation seen in Magic Valley Town shows that few people believe in the existence of Sky Island. I have been on the ocean current, but I failed. I came up in a hot air balloon. I have been here for more than 16 years. You are still the first batch I have ever seen successfully all members. It is really amazing. Milo sat on the cloud. You've been here for 17 years. Then you must know a lot. Can you tell us how to get to the empty island? The record pointer is still pointing up, but we don't know the way. Nami asked. How to get up? Walk along the Yunhee, and you will see the gate of heaven, and you will see the empty island. By the way, remember to pay the entry fee, or you will be hunted by those idiots. Milo reminded a sentence. 17 years, why don't you go down? Are you trapped on an empty island? Robin asked. Why, I'm waiting for someone. My buddy will come sooner or later. I trust him. Milo smiled. You've waited 17 years. This is a great waterway. 17 years, are you sure the person you're waiting for is still alive? Sauron respected Milo's persistent character, but still told the truth. Hee, I know what you mean. I've waited long enough, and I'm almost out of patience. If he doesn't come again within 3 years, I won't wait for him. As for alive or dead, it should be alive. That guy's life force is stubbornly like a monster. Huh, Milo's mouth suddenly evoked a smile. Ahahaha, interesting. I have something to do temporarily. Nah, bye. Milo instantly disappeared in front of them. Chapter 300 Illegal Entry, Approaching Shura. Hey, wait, I haven't finished asking. Nami's hand froze in midair, and Milo's figure was gone. Wow, that's amazing, and suddenly disappeared. Luffy looked at where Milo was standing and opened his mouth in surprise. Hey, erotic cook, that guy. Zoro looked around solemnly. Well, a very scary guy. He has completely disappeared, and he has no idea how he moved. Sanji rarely quarreled with Zoro directly. He's a human or a ghost. Chopper suddenly felt a chill rise from his neck. Usopp shuddered. He just said that he waited for 17 years. Do ordinary people wait so long? Shouldn't it be a ghost? Oh well, maybe we're already dead. Zoro pulled out a smile. It is said that if a person dies with a deep obsession, he will become a ghost and linger where he died. He will linger forever without even realizing that he is dead. Robin said solemnly. Not only that, it is said that the crew members who have spoken to him will also be dragged down by him to be with him. The emptiness and loneliness in his heart can never be filled. Wow. Chopper was so scared that he hugged Nami's calf, and the temperature from above still couldn't dispel the chill in his heart. Namishin, I'm scared too. Sanji went over to hug Nami's thigh, only to be kicked away. Hey, I still didn't ask anything. Nami in broad daylight was not afraid of ghosts or anything, and that thunderlight didn't look like a ghost no matter what. You guys have more brains. How could there be ghosts? They should be capable people. Able person. That's the case, so the explanation is clear. If it's a devil fruit, it's not surprising. Usopp tapped the palm of his left hand with his right hand, with a sudden realization. What? The ability person who suddenly disappeared. Sanji felt a pain in his heart. He thought of a certain possibility, the necessary ability to peep at the women's bathroom. That blue light just now, is it thunder? Robin didn't tell any dark jokes, and thought seriously. Thunder and lightning. The speed of lightning is the speed of light. If that's the case, the sudden disappearance would make sense. Nami analyzed. Oh, the wise Namishin and Robinshin are so charming. When he heard that it was not a transparent fruit, Sanji was resurrected with blood. Thunderbolt nature, that's a godlike power. Is it really something that humans can control? Usopp was still a little unconvinced. Maybe it's possible. The Great Waterway, isn't there such a monster? Robin sounded the power of Aokiji's freezing sea, and the battle between Ainil and Akutagawa. Hey, don't be scary. Are there so many monsters like that? Maybe we are lucky, Zoro joked. The man didn't seem to have any hostility just now. Let's try our best not to cause trouble. Luffy and his gang found the gate to heaven just like the original. The gatekeeper is still the same Amazon. When she heard that she had to pay the entry fee, Nami was reluctant. Hey Nami, let's still pay the entry fee. The green-haired guy mentioned this just now. If you don't, you'll be hunted by lunatics. Usopp persuaded. Hey, of course you don't feel bad for not spending your money. Nami gave full play to her miser's character, and she already took all the money on board as her own. My partner's money is my money, and my money is still my money. Well, the logic is fine. That can you be accommodating? We don't have that kind of currency called yike at all, can we not pay it? Nami tried her best to be cute, with a flattering expression. However, her opponent is an old-fashioned old woman. It doesn't matter if you don't pay. Ah, that's great, Nami said. Hey wait, what happens if you don't pay? Usopp asked. Milo just said something inexplicable, but he just took it over. Will be classified as an illegal entry, a criminal. Hunted down, Amazon said. Oh so, I know. I decided not to pay. Nami looked righteous. Whoops. Usopp staggered. Hey Nami, I'll be hunted down. What are you afraid of? We are pirates anyway. The pirates themselves are criminals. Don't worry if you have too many lice, and don't worry if you have too much debt. Oh so it is. After they were sent to Beibai by the Limited Express shrimp, Amazon immediately sent the information of Luffy's gang to the shrine. The Gate of Heaven monitor. Amazon reports Almighty God and all the priests, please impose heaven's sanctions on the 7 illegal immigrants who went to the Sky Holy Land of God's Kingdom. Sky Island, Apayado. Shrine. Someone dares to break into the kingdom of God illegally. This is disrespectful to God. It must be punished. The waiter with the law book next to him said, illegal entry, death penalty. Lord God is not here. Hurry up and contact the priests. Let them take action. The majesty of God cannot be blasphemed. Shira sat quietly on the branch, next to a strange bird with a pale head. Ha ha ha, illegal immigrants, I haven't met you for a long time. I hope I can have a good time. Let's go, cross-legged. Shira flew a bird on his body. Ga! Sanjong bird shouted cross-legged and flew into the sky. This time, my priest Shira will carry out the sanctions. Hoo ho ho, that bastard Shira, relying on a bird, he takes the lead every time something interesting happens. Damn guy, he stole the prey again. The fat man, Mori's great goblin Chadley, gritted his teeth. Sky Guard Chief Nirvana bit his lower lip and was speechless. Oh, illegal immigrants. It's from Qinghai tilde. It seems to be very interesting. Huo, let's go and see. It should be very interesting. I haven't seen other Qinghai people in a long time. Herring was happy. Jump on the ground. It's boring, you better fix Yunhee first. Lu Huo glanced at her. Ah, it's so boring. I'm not cultivating anymore. Let the magic soldiers come. I'm going to meet people from Qinghai. Qingyu, didn't you say that Qinghai people are very unfriendly to your fish? Lu Huo said. I said, I'm not a fish, I'm a beautiful mermaid. Garbage fire, you remember it clearly. Herring emphasized. Oh okay, stupid fish. Lu Huo digs his booger. Trash fire, you flat-chested. Lu Huo spread his hands indifferently. I still have hills in my chest. According to Milo's aesthetic standards, it seems to be a little better than the Great Plains. Although I don't really care about it. Herring.